Good morning, Chiveshri.
Yeah. Sir, we are online now.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, we have more than 100 people, so we can start, Pradeep.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Welcome, friends. Today at Borivali Central CP Study Circle, I think we are having this seminar after one long month of professional compliances. So I think now everyone is settled due to the extension of due date. And today we are very much proud and privileged that we have Assistant Commissioner MS Vijayakumar with us today. So you can say that for the first 10 minutes, it will be like Aapki Adalat, and we have Mr. Vijayakumar in the witness box. But before that, I would request Bijal to please have an institute motto first. Voice is not coming.
Doshi ji, you have muted, I think so.
Bijal, you are on mute. Yeah. Bijal. Shreyas, can you start the motto?
I will play.
Is it not coming?
Bijal, you just need to give me the sharing.
Yeah, done.
Yaesha Supteshu Jagrati Yaesha Supteshu Jagrati Kamam 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 Kamusho Pursho Nirvimanaha Nirvimanaha Tadeva Shukran Brahma Tadeva Mritamuchyate Asmin Lokaha Shitaha Sarve Taduna Charitascha Etadvaita 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 Etadvaita
Nilesh bhai, you are on mute.
Yeah, thank you, members. Thank you, friends. Nihalji, just change the name of your screen.
Just a second, actually, I have logged in from my mobile phone.
Okay,
Just
no
to
issue.
check, whether that internet has got no issues. So I believe
No,
internet has no issues. So
no
just give me a couple of minutes. My laptop has also restarted. I'm joining it from laptop and then I will do that. Hope that's fine.
Good morning, Nikhilji.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good morning. Fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, friends. So we will start the session today, and we have Assistant Commissioner SGST of Madurai, Mr. MS Vijayakumar. He is a postgraduate degree holder in commerce with B.Ed, and he started his career as PG Commerce Assistant in the Government Higher Secondary School for 4 years. He was selected by Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission in 1983 competitive exams, and he has worked in the Commercial Tax Department, Tamil Nadu since 1986 in various capacity, having 35 years of experience in Tamil Nadu Commercial Tax Department. He did his MBA in Thigarajar School of Management affiliated to Madurai Kamarajar University during 92 to 95. He did his honors diploma in networking computer in NIIT Bilingual Center and also awarded with certificate of total quality management during 1988. He has given various lectures, seminars, webinars around Madurai district, and he has did his MPhil in Madurai Kamarajar University. So a very learned faculty and assistant commissioner is with us today. But I think for a member's point of view, we can just tell we have a person in the witness box today from the government side. So, sir, I think you will face a lot of difficult questions today. It is your protocol that to answer them or not to answer them. But the questions will be tough one.
Okay, sir. No issues, sir. No issues, sir. No issues. No issues.
Another good news is that, sir, please accept a memento from our side, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Because it's a e-seminar, we have a e-memento for all the faculties. It's not opening.
I think today everybody has some connection issues. It's not.
I have already
Sunday.
opened it on my screen. Is it visible?
Okay, then
Actually, what has happened is tax audit करते laptops इतने चल गए ना कि अब वो भी slow हो गए बोल रहे Sunday है भाई relax करो थोड़ा.
fine, in the end somewhere we will open it. No issue. Please stop the shares.
Okay.
सर जहां भी डिपार्टमेंट और प्रोफेशनल मिलेंगे थोड़ा बहुत तो टिप होगा ही.
Sir, you can understand because the GST software is not working, website is not working. Similarly, we are facing problem in GST seminars.
Of course, sir. Of course, of course.
And good news for the members that Vijay sir will be for 3 hours today with us. So any questions you can post in the end. Vijay sir will take all the questions before also and after also. So now I will just invite Pradeep Chandwani, my deputy convener, to please take charge of the session, please.
Hello, good morning. Welcome everyone. I think we have the privilege of having a departmental review today. So without wasting more address, so that we can start with the proceedings, and then we will call for the speaker of the day and we'll start the proceedings. Sir, Vijayakumar sir, over to you. You can have your speech, and then all the questions will be posted in the Q&A box. You are free to take them whenever you are comfortable, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Hello.
Yes,
Sir,
sir,
am
you're
I
audible.
audible? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, sir. A very good morning to all of you. And first of all, I would like to thank this platform of Borivali CP, Central CP Study Circle for this wonderful opportunity that is given to me. I would also thank my Bhaiya CA Nikhilji for recommending me to be in the panel list of this NIRC via WARC of ICI. And it is a great honor, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be with you for ever long and for these three awards today. I would also thank Nilesh Vasadji for continuous touch before the session starts today. here I would say that I would also be thankful to Mr. Jain sir, who is from Tamil Nadu, and Mr. Pradeep ji, who is known to be in the platform. And a very good morning and very thankful to all of the participants. And I am here to resolve any questions, whatever you posted in the question and answer section, or whatever the question that you are interrupting at any time. I will try to answer all your questions. And GST, 4 years have gone, and this is the 5th year. And a 4-year boy walks with a lot of mischief and put down all those things like that. We have a lot of difficulties and encountered so many problems from the very inception of law, no doubt. And being the professionals, the chartered accountants, they are the pillars of the nation. They are the pillars of the economy. Recently, our finance minister have openly said that the chartered accountants are the pillars of the economy. No doubt, they are the pillars and they are the makers of this law. And I have a good old friends of all these from all parts of country. I have good old friends of chartered accountants. I maintain all the relationship with all these chartered accountants. Though I am working for the commercial tax department, see, since 1986, I have seen Madras General Sales Tax Act. I have worked under VAT Act and now working in GST. So I am familiar with all those laws to my knowledge. So see that we didn't have this much of awareness program, a lot of seminars, conferences, both sides, as well as the department side from the professional side. So many seminars, awareness program, training programs, webinars, Zoom meeting, continuously. We never come across this much of any indirect taxes in the previous region. Though GST is a old wine in a new bottle, GST is an enhanced version of what? We have too many ingredients which create more kick by having this, what is called the 16.1, 16.2, 73, 74, 36.3, 86.3, 122, 129, 138, 143. So these sections are the root cause for what is called this problem with the trading people and the professional people, as well as our department people also having a lot of hectic problem by these sections. See, we never come across this much of problems. See, even in VAT, we never come across this much of problems. But in GST, as it is a newborn baby and having 4 years of age, having a lot of problems. Interpretation of law differs from person to person and place to place, but we have to resolve that. But merely giving notices to the trading people by way of what is called this assumption and those what is called this other things, it is not at all advisable. But if we have concrete evidence of evasion of duty, or if there is any problem on the side of trading people, it is worth to give notices and to get resolved by way of getting answers and to solve the problems. So problem is there, everywhere is there. See, because notices issued, even in VAT regime also notices are issued, because we had problems of what is called this annexure 2 does not reflect the what is called these purchases things. So that annexure 1, annexure 2 are not matched with that. So the trading people get received a lot of notices, and we try to resolve all those things by what is called this getting the details from the dealers and set aside the problem. But now it is a different thing. See, because there are a lot of changes day by day. We are not very firm in GST laws. Even though we are practicing daily, we come across a lot of changes, lot of amendments, lot of notifications, lot of circulars, and day by day, high courts, Supreme Courts are passing lot of judgments on GST. We never come across this much of items in our walks of life throughout the indirect tax regime. So in the new system of this act being enforced for the last 1 year, we come across there is a burden of both department and professional people getting too many notices from the department side. See, one thing I would say, it is not an out of place to say that in the GST regime, though it is a newborn baby, there is a tax evasion of more than 50,000 crores by way of fake invoicing. As a department, I feel to say that this much of evasion we never come across from any region. But why it happens? Why it happens? See, because of what is called this registration procedure, that first itself, while entering into that indirect region, that is GST portal, we got that there are a lot of getting wrong registration, so that the people go for what is called this fake invoicing. I don't want to take too much of time, because an eminent person, I have enjoyed already Nikeshji's classes in the Abhishek Rajaramji's portal. I heard his a wonderful opportunity of listening to his voice, so that I will not be a hurdle for Nikeshji for his valuable lecture. So at this juncture, why these notices comes? And there is a way, when the problem is correctly encountered, there is a way for solving the problem. So I, first of all, in the platform, I tell that don't worry, because there is a way for everything. We can resolve things. Only thing that you do not get fear of getting notices. You don't get any fear of notices. You can give you a valuable, that is a proper answer to the department. And the department is also here to help all the people, trading people, as well as the professional people, and they will do wonders. And at this juncture, because I don't want to take much time of Nihalji, so I am ending my what is called this the introductory speech, and I will be with the 3 hours with you. You can ask any question, and don't what is called this an embarrassing situation of asking indifferent questions, because though I am in the department side, I have to balance those department and as well as the professional people. So with that, I conclude my speech, and I will be with you for more with these 3 hours with you. Thank you so much of giving this opportunity, Pradeep ji, Tripedi ji, Nilesh ji, Nikesh ji, Joshi ji, everyone. A very good morning. We will enjoy this session, and we will try to solve all the problems. Jain ji, I am thankful because you are from Tamil Nadu. Thank you so much, ji, for being with what is called this Boravelli CP Study Circle with you. Thank you, ji. Thank you. With that, I am ending my session.
Thank you, sir.
Very much, sir. It was indeed a great insight to have today from Vijayakumar sir about how the notices are coming in, what is the approach of the department. Thank you. Without wasting much time, I would like to ask Vijay Doshi to give introduction to today's speaker, CA Nihalchand Jain. Vijay, you can start the procedure.
Yeah. Thank you, Pradeep. Today we have with us CA Nihalchand Jain. He is member of Institute ICAI. He's also a Bachelor of Commerce from HR College, Mumbai. He has more than 6 years of professional experience working with broad range of global, public and private organizations, helping them to deal with the significant GST risk and issues. His experience includes business and operational risk advisory, GST audit, GST compliances, as well as setting up of the standard operating system procedures. He also visits various institutes like ICAI, ICAI Study Circle at Bhiwandi, Belgaum and Borivali to take the sessions on GST. He has been invited as a regular speaker at various forums and also invited as a guest faculty at UP, ACA, Nirmala College, Thakur College, as well as Ramachandra College, Delhi University, to talk to the students on the subject of GST. He is active both academically as well as on practically, where he writes and talks about different aspects on various topics of GST. With this, I would like to welcome you, sir, at BCSC. On behalf of BCSC, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And would like to present the memento.
Yeah. Also, please present that memento of sir also, Vijay sir also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So please accept our
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving this valuable memento for me. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Bijal. Before Nihal sir start the session, I think because we have eminent faculty from the government side in the witness box, so we have few questions, and I will warn you, sir, they are really tough ones.
Okay.
It's protocol that you to ask them or not to ask them.
Okay.
First thing, sir, because these are the questions of members. Really, we are what you said that is a learning process, and everyone is learning everything. But the problem is that, sir, on the receiving end and the problematic end always is the clients. Sir, the department sides, they are not getting more support. And just first question is that why the department is making roving inquiries over emails and overseeing the legal procedure for issuing notices. Can you just brief us, sir?
Okay. So, see, today in the recent technological advancement, see, earlier in laws, we used to communicate the notices only through by registered portion or by way of personal service. But now, as everything is computerized, and we are only facing the system of, see, we are seeing what is called all these returns and payments of the dealers only in the systems, and it is the government asked to what is there is only faceless scheme of what is called this assessment and everything. So it is our duty to communicate anything only by of email. But so the people, the trading people should have an access to that what is called seeing all the emails and all the notices that are pouring into that email box. It is a duty, because simply getting the registration and paying the taxes with the help of tax professionals, the work is not end there. They have to see, because it is only to that extent that the duty is ended. They have to watch all those things, and they have to see. Another thing, the main problem is that they are taking all the problems which they have encountered only in the last minute to the chartered accountant peoples. They are not aware of this. So my humble request to you, please, I am always educating the trading people. Don't get what is called panic. Don't get last minute preparation. You just bring the problems as and when you receive that particular thing to the chartered accounts, your chartered accountants, your accountant professionals. So it is a duty to see that whether they are receiving anything. See, for anything and everything, there is a way to solve the problem. So no need to worry by the trading people of getting any notices from the department side. They are doing the routine work. This is my humble opinion, G.
But sir, all the notices what we gave on emails are properly valid as per law?
No, see, because there is a circular issued by the government of CGST rule is that is everything is called what is called the unique identification number should be there. So without generation of that number, no officer can issue any notices to that.
But
so
sir,
yes, please.
Portal also there is a user services. We have view notices and orders. Why they are not posting that notice on that portal also of that client?
So, see, it is what is called this is the procedure that nothing should be depicted in the portal. So see, only the dealers who are registered under the GST Act should be issued with the notices. If anything, everything is ported in the portal, it will be made known to widely to the common people also. So then there will be some problem with that of what is called the trading people as well as the department. That's why, yes.
Problem or it's a facility? It's a,
yes,
when we see the notices on the client portal, we get
yes.
everything get updated, na? Only
yes,
getting
of course.
but only getting mail and nothing on the portal of our client. How we will come to know about the notices and everything?
Okay, this thing we have to see that. Say in future, this will be, I think it will be updated that everything should be posted in the portal, because normally anything of the particular dealers personal what is called this dealings of registration and queries should be posted only to that particular dealer's mail.
If it is ported in, that is not getting happen nowadays. On the dealers SSC's portal, notices are not getting uploaded.
Okay. See, there is you see, we have to first of all accept that is there are a lot of technical problems in the what is portal. See, we are also experiencing. You people are experiencing that technical glitches. See, even after the 4 years, there are a lot of high court judgments that is allow the tran credit. Even in 2021, we are receiving guidelines from the government, from the high court. You allow tran one to manually file that. So we know that it is only technical glitches and it should be resolved.
Everyone is facing problem, but government is not suffering. The SSCs are suffering for all this thing.
Of course, I agree with this. We both are facing problems, sir.
So second thing, the bill of entries, when we have a proper bill of entries, the custom departments doesn't upload it on time. And due to this, it is not getting reflected in GSTR 2B, and they are not allowing to take this credit.
Yes,
then
of course.
For it, because see, we cannot post those entries from the customs portal. It is customs duty to post those entries on time.
Say, I see it is daily within every minute they are updating, sir. I think to my knowledge that IC gate is if they go to that portal, and the portal is updated at any time, any point of time, and all the entries are made properly. And there may be some what is called this delay in that, but everything is, I think, to my knowledge, it is correct, and the portal will definitely give that result to the persons who are uploading that particular
Not
customs portal.
reflected in the portal. If it is not reflected in the portal and we have a proper bill of entry, should we take the ITC for that month?
Yes, definitely. You have the valid documents, or you are having every right to, because you have filed the return, you are having the bill of entry, you entered it properly, you have at liberty, sir. Don't worry. You need not worry for that. When you have a valid documents, you need not worry. You have a lot of forums to get success in that particular.
So third
Definitely.
thing, initially there was a late fee of 10,000 rupees up to maximum. So
Yes,
people,
of course.
many people have faced for 10 to 15 months, they have paid the late fees of 10,000 rupees or whatever may be. After that, they
Sir, of
came
course.
that it is only 500 rupees maximum.
Yes.
So what about the people who have already paid that 10,000? Why those partiality that they are not refunded? मतलब जो आ गया वो आ गया, बाद में भूल जाओ.
Sir, up to 2018, the government has issued circulars to refund whatever the late fees and penal fees that have been paid by the dealer. Late fees that has been refunded. I have refunded to lot of dealers in 2000 up to 2018 July, and 2019 also we have refunded all the late fees, sir. But now the government has not given any instruction to refund such late fees, and they will receive in future, sir. Definitely, it will be definitely under the purview of the government points of view that any late fees which has been wrongly collected and paid by the dealers will be refunded at any point of time, because there are a lot of glitches of what is called this filing of returns. It itself is a great problem for the trading people of filing returns. So that late fees which has been paid by the dealers will be refunded definitely, sir. But it is only a matter of time, sir.
So when a purchaser files the GSTR 1 return after 6 months, what do? You don't give the credit to the purchaser. When the seller files the return after 6 months, you are not giving the credit to the purchaser of that credit. Also, you are not giving credit of the purchase is made by that purchaser. On the both end, government is receiving. Why this thing? You are taking the amount from the purchaser also. You are disallowing the credit to the seller also. So both ways you are penalizing. And it should be only one way process. No, ₹1 में आप ₹2 का profit नहीं कर सकते हो.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. See, we have what is called this valuable detail enterprises private limited judgment, which has been clearly said that the purchaser should not be penalized because he has paid the tax to the person who have issued the invoice. And I am not having any different opinion on that. I am not having it, sir. But the system is that see, now the new rule has been that is instead of 2A, 2B has been introduced. Only if it is found in the 2B, the dealers can avail ITC. Even though recipient has paid the tax to the supplier didn't file that what is called this GSTR 3B and paid tax to the department, sir. That's why it is a usual procedure and is a routine one of what is called this. The system itself matches and gives all these mismatches items to the taskbar of the proper officer, and the proper officer has no other alternative to except issue notices, even if there is any problem in both sides, sir. Even if the receiver has paid a tax, the supplier has not filed the return and paid the tax, it is our bounden duty to issue the notice, and we have to take stringent action against the supplier who have not filed the returns, sir. We are taking actions against such a supplier who have not filed the returns also, sir. And don't think that only the recipients are penalized, even though they have paid taxes to the department, they are penalized. Don't think that. It is a routine. It is a procedure. See, we don't see any X or Y, Nilesh or Nikesh or Pradeep Ji, they are filing. We don't know. The system gives such data that there are mismatches. Only based on that data, we issue notices to the dealers that there are no payments and the other end dealer have not filed return and paid tax. This is my humble opinion, sir. If there is a proper what is called this invoice is there and payment proof is there, then the matter will be resolved by way of giving the what is called this proper reply. The officer can drop the notice if it is wrong, and taking the credit only if it is reflected in the 2B. These rules, sir. It is amended to that extent. See, at the inception of law, we have been informed that there will be one GSTR 1, there will be 1A, and it will be reflected in the 1A. and if it is the receiver can do it in such a GSTR 2 and 2A will be there, what are all, see, everything has gone, everything is gone. GSTR 1A is not there, GSTR 2A is not there, GSTR 3 is not there, GSTR 3 only we are going forward strictly with GSTR 1, GSTR 2B, now 2A is modified with 2B and 3B. Now 3B is what is called this. It is accepted return. The government has the high courts and the government has given that statement that GSTR 3B is written. Then we have to act according to that government rules and other things.
So rules are absolutely fine, but if you think from a common man side, for example, if I have to pay 100 rupees GST and 1 lakh rupees ITC is reflected instead of 11th of January, it is reflected on 12th of January.
Okay,
the system says that you pay that 1 lakh rupees also and you take the benefit next month. So how it is possible? A person who has to pay only 100 or 200 rupees a month, when he will be able to set off that 1 lakh rupees? Till the whole lifetime, he will not be able to set off. Why they are not charging interest for that one day rather than making that whole 1 lakh rupees payment?
Of course, I agree with you, sir. It is a total injustice rendered to the trading community, sir. Though I am working for the department, as a common man, I accept with that, sir. But we have to find a solution. You, chartered account peoples, you are the lawmakers. You are the lawmakers. You have to bring this to the forum of the government, sir. We are also bringing this everything, the encountering practical difficulties that are facing by the dealer to the higher authorities. That how can we penalize a person already has paid a tax? It is totally, I accept your point of view. It is an injustice to the trading community. See, instead of paying 100 rupees, how can he pay 200 rupees? Even if I am doing any business, I will not accept that. But this is the condition that is prevailing in the portal, and this is where there is no other alternative except to go with that, sir. And we have to that is professional people, chartered accountants and department officers has to resolve problem and to safeguard the trading community, sir.
So we are recording your views, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so okay, thank you, thank you.
Okay, yes, Vijay sir, anything from your side? Vijay JM sir.
Sir, is there any inside information about any amnesty scheme coming for those registration which has been cancelled with effect from 1st of July 2017?
Yes. To my knowledge, so far no further any surplus or instructions are given, sir, so far, sir. But there is a representation from the trading people to the government, sir. And if there is an amnesty system come, that we will definitely go with that particular, sir, definitely, sir.
And secondly, sir, there is ITC we cannot claim after the September month return for the previous years.
Yes, definitely.
So, do you think it's a draconian law? Actually,
you yourself have quoted that it's a draconian law when there is no other. I too have to accept with that because I go with that point of view, sir.
okay.
Because after September, that is annual return, there is no scope for availing the ITC.
Yeah.
So to that, before September return to be filed in October, every dealer has to claim the ITC relating to the previous invoices. Definitely, sir.
But sir, during that period, if his registration was cancelled,
yes,
and he got registration after September, then also you cannot claim the ITC, no?
So I think even after cancellation of registration, if he has and the cancellation has been revoked after that, if he has registered any query for revocation and asked revocation of cancellation of registration, if registration is revoked and subsequently the registration is valid in future, he can also claim ITC, sir. He can also claim ITC with the valid documents that he is having with that, sir.
Okay. Go to Nilesh. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Vijay, anything?
Yeah, I have one question, sir. As you told that unless it reflects in 2B, recipient won't be able to claim ITC. So if the supplier is not filing return till next September, like for March 21, if it's not filing till September 21, then how the recipient will claim ITC? So there will be loss to recipient as well in that case.
Yes, of course, I accept your view because that deadline, the time fixed is only on the September return to be filed in October, and the annual return filed in December. That the dealer cannot avoid if it is not reflected in GSTR 2B.
Yes.
And if any notices has been issued to the dealer, that ITC will be rejected by the department, and he has to pay that what is called this amount issued, notices issued to the dealer. There is no other, so far there is no solution for that.
Yeah, so sir, in that,
yes, sir. Yes.
so we are losing credit. No, as a,
Yes,
as
of
a
course,
recipient
of
is
course.
losing credit
Yes,
in
sir.
that case.
See, I agree with that. Recipient is losing that.
So, sir, what is the solution from your side?
See, that we can do nothing. He can get what is called resolving a problem by way of going to any court of law, because we department side, we can issue only notices because that we have given set of rules that only a dealer can avail ITC up to the return, that is called the September return in October, or the final return. And beyond that, we cannot allow that person to take any ITC, even if he has valid invoices in his hand.
Right.
The only thing that the other end dealer has not paid the tax remitted to the exchequer of the government, and it is a punishment, and again it is a double taxation. I agree with what is called the chartered accountant's perception, sir.
So I have one more query. Recently, we are receiving, in many cases, we are receiving notice for the short payment of late fees, where it is being sent from that no reply, so backend ID of the GST portal. So it says that a portal has incorrectly calculated the late fees.
Yes.
So, and we have to pay the differential amount, and those fees are running into more than 10-15,000 for all the clients. So while filing 3B, whatever late fees were due, we have already discharged that. But now from backend, we are receiving this type of notice for the differential late fees. And it mentioned that it was a mistake of the portal. Now we have to pay differential amount. So what is your view on that, sir? Because late fees already discharged while filing 3B. Without late fees, we cannot file our 3B only. So now notices are received for financial year 17, 18, 18, 19, and even 19, 20. So why suddenly this late fees notice has started with the note that it is portal's mistake? So now you pay the differential amount.
See, I have at the very beginning, I have told one thing that see, there are a lot of technical glitches from the inception of law. See, at the very beginning, from 2017 to 30th June of 2018, the government felt that because as the dealers have not filed the returns in time, and automatically the late fees has been calculated, and intimations have sent it to the dealers through the portal that you have filed the returns belatedly, and you have to pay the late fees and the interest to this much of extent from 2018. And after that also, there are a lot of problems, what is called, even after the technical glitches are resolved, sometimes this problem again it comes, because see, every dealer, even though the time stipulated to them is on 20th of August, sorry, 20th of every succeeding month, they have to file the return. See, all the dealers, see, I already at the very first beginning of the meeting, I told that it is a mutual understanding between the dealer, professionals, and the department officers. The dealers, I am not blaming any dealers. The dealers, with their pressure of work and with the pressure of business, they are giving the documents to file the return only belatedly, and even at some time, what is called this 19th of succeeding month. And the chartered accounts and the trading, what is called this professional people, they have the difficulty of uploading all the returns in the one day overnight. So this problem arises only because the late fee comes, that because of the last minute uploading of things, sometimes the portal will not accept. See, in the first beginning of the day, we have a lot of problems of what is called this poor net connectivity. We cannot be able to connect even a lot of time. So that there are a lot of problems because of only this. If you go for what is it, the government is giving time from first of the succeeding month to 19th or 20th of succeeding month, then we have to be what is called this very careful of filing returns in times. When if anything is uploaded properly on 19th or 20th, even though it is uploaded on 20th, the system, because of the huge data, is flowing in like anything. Sometimes it automatically getting later, and the notices have to be generated. There is no other related except way to issue notices, because the late fees are coming. The government has given instructions, and the late fees were what is called this late fees of filing of returns were refunded to the dealers. In what is called this lakhs and lakhs were refunded, because the technical glitches are there, so that we are refunding all those what is called late fees. Now the government has to take such a decision. That is because of the technical glitches and because of what is called this problems in what is called matching of returns filing in the proper date. These late fees can be waived up. And I request the chartered accountants to represent to the government to waive all those late fees, which are because of not on the part of the dealer and the professionals. This is my humble opinion, Pradeep ji and Jain ji, Nikhil ji.
So the issue was in my question that we have already discharged the late fees as it was applicable while filing 3B. So for example, as while filing 3B, if the portal is showing me that you are liable to pay late fees of 1,000, then we have already discharged that. Yes. Now, after 3-4 years, we are receiving the notice saying that you are liable to pay 10,000, you have paid 1,000. So now pay 9,000 again. So when I have already discharged as per calculation of portal, then why again notice is coming? That's my question.
Yes, of course, of course.
So, what is what? Because it is just, there is no judicial officer. It is just notice coming from the backend. Do not reply GST email ID. So it's coming notice from backend on portal. There is no officer assigned to it. And the notices are not even reflecting on GST login, as Nilesh already told earlier. So what action should be done as a assessee from our side?
Joshi ji, see, I am very clear. There is a circular, Master Circular 1053 of 0270. SGN showcase notice should not be drafted. It should be at most care. It should not be vague. You can give what is called this explanation, and you can give reply. If it does not have a unique identification number, and if it is not signed, you need not worry. You just ignore the notice, because there is clear circular from the government of CGST, Central Excise CBSE board, that there is a clear circular. If it is vague and it is imaginative, you can better what is called this. You cannot give much importance to that notice. When it has identification number, we can give what is called this. I have filed the return in time, and this is the proof. You can upload all those things. It will be in the taskbar of the proper officer. He will look into that, and he will what is called this drop notice. And we need not worry. There are clear-cut instructions. You give in writing that these are the instructions 1053, and this is a notice which is not found that is signed by the proper officer. We can just ignore that notice.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your answer. Nilesh, my hand over to you.
Hello.
Hello, Nilesh, your voice is not coming.
Sir, Pradeep ji, sir.
Yes, sir.
If everything is going on well, sir, Jain, sir.
Sorry?
Things are going on well?
Yeah, sir, absolutely fine.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
sir, you are audible. I would request Nihalchand ji to start with this lecture, because I think how to handle GST notices. Now we will see from a chartered accountant perspective how to handle these notices. Vijayakumar sir has given the perspective of the department as to what representation needs to be done, and which notices needs to be taken care of. And from a client perspective, I think there will be always a pressure that whenever a notice comes, at least that needs to be replied to. I understand that there are technical glitches on the website and there are certain teething problems, but I think we need to, the department jointly with the Chartered Accountant Associations need to resolve these problems on war footing basis, so that unnecessary litigation and letter to and fro, and we are not wasting our useful resources in replying to notices which do not have any significant value. Over to you, Nihalchand ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Firstly, Vijay sir, for thinking me capable enough to address you all for the second time as well.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Vijay sir, for accepting our invitation. Thank you, Nilesh bhai, and thank you, Pradeep ji, so much. That I always believe that it is always a pleasure addressing the crowd of Borivali CP Central Study Circle as well. Is because there are not just questions flowing around, there is always a logical end to whatever discussion that I do with this study circle. So then I always believe that, it is a pleasure to me that we are all able to conclude things logically. See, law is what it is. Okay, we cannot do anything about it. Portal is something that we are made to live with. So there is something that at least we can do about it. And as a professional, I will always say, keep your emotions aside. We do not represent either the taxpayer, that is our SSC, nor do we represent the department side. See, we are stuck in between. I always say that as professional, we are always stuck in between. Why? We have to understand from department's point of view. We also have to understand the law from the taxpayer's point of view. And then, keeping all our emotions aside, we have to draft a reply that is appropriate. It is neither too aggressive, it is neither too soft. The reason I say never get extra aggressive in whatever you reply is because if you are getting too aggressive and if you make a slight error in either interpretation or the language, it will be used against you. If you are too soft, you may not be able to put your point. And therefore, I'll always say, जब भी आप लिखो, ओके, उसको नेक्स्ट डे रिव्यू जरूर करो कि मैं अब ये सबमिट करने जा रहा हूँ, सो इज इट अप्रोप्रिएट? क्या ये लेटर जब मैं खुद पढ़ूंगा मुझे अच्छा लगेगा ये पढ़ के, या मुझे इंसल्टिंग फील होगा? इफ आई एम ओके विद रिसीविंग सच रिप्लाईज, आई एम ओके सेंडिंग देम एज वेल. Now, a topic that I actually wanted to take it up in the end, but because we have already been discussing on this thing, so I'll touch a bit of it now. Sir, पहली बात तो the communication that you receive from the department, sir, it is not a notice. Why I say this to you is, for it to be called as a notice, there are a lot of essential things. Firstly, there has to be a document identification number. If there is no document identification number, it is a communication that you receive. And I again, by this, do not mean that it should not be replied to, it should be replied to. However, don't take it up as a notice and reply to it as a notice. Sir, उसने information पूछा ना आपसे, आप information दो ना. आप ये क्यों मान के चल रहे हो कि अरे बाप रे मेरे को शौकस आ गया, मेरे को कुछ ना कुछ तड़कता फड़कता देना है उसको? No, it is not required. Just treat it up as a normal, plain communication that you receive from the department. I'll tell you an example. जब portal late fees calculate करके आपको दिया जा रहा है, I'm sure you know that we are receiving a lot of such notices. I personally am saying it to you from my own personal experience. In the year 2017-18, okay, I had actually calculated the so-called amount. It was less. Sorry, the amount calculated by me in terms of late fees was more than what the portal was showing. So take my words. If it is wrong, prove it. Just prepare up your own reconciliation. That, say for example, 20th due date थी, आपने 25 को भरा, so 5 दिन की late fees आनी चाहिए थी, portal 10 दिन की दे रहा है. Keep a reconciliation handy. I'll always say, just because portal ने आपको कुछ communicate कर दिया, that does not mean it is correct. Okay, you can always go ahead, prepare up your own reconciliations, show it that, sir, this was the law at that point of time, and as per the applicable law, this is the amount of penalty or of late fee that I should have been paying. Out of that, certain parties already discharged. So there is no point in asking me to pay again. Also, the notices that we are receiving, the communications that we are receiving, in that we only get the amount payable and we are not shown as to what is the amount that is already paid. And therefore, if I have to conclude it over here, I'll only give you a 2-point step to be followed. Pehla, do your own calculations, and second, verify it. Agar aapka calculation is appropriate, up to the mark, there is no point in losing sleep over things. I hope I am clear till here, and I would also like to apologize sincerely I do not know what has happened to my laptop. The Zoom is simply not opening. So I have shared up my PPT with Nilesh ji, and it would be a really say sorry, but still a request from Nilesh ji that sir, if you can please share it up on the screen, and if it is say not feasible to do that, I don't mind taking up the session without that PPT as well. It is all here, but you know, it is like it is always a good look and feel that PPT is presented. So if it is possible, sir, please do it. If it is not possible, I don't mind taking this session as it is.
Nilesh bhai, I have made you host.
If you are not audible.
Sir, I have mailed it to you.
Okay, just let me check. Sir,
Okay.
BCSE,
So till the time that PPT is getting open,
sir, BCSE events वाले ID पे किया था आपने?
नीलेश जी ने जो मेरे को लास्ट मेल भेजा था ना सर, मैंने उसके रिप्लाई पे किया था. So I do not remember what the email ID was.
That will be his personal email ID. So.
Okay. Now, sirs, let us understand, sirs and madams, let us understand what is the procedure to receive that ASMT 10 notice in the first place. Now, everybody would be like, Nihal, this is too basic. Sir, I know it is too basic, but at point or at times, we often make blunder in our basics. So remember, the law, the GST system works on a self-assessment model. Now, what is that self-assessment model? It is like as a taxpayer, if you are the taxpayer, if I am the taxpayer, I'll have to self-assess. Now, self-assessment can happen of two things. One is your outward supply. Second is your ITC. A combination of this, a total detail of this goes into your return. And the sections that we refer, generally for furnishing of outward details is 37. For furnishing of inward details is 38. For returns is all 39. But the basics of ITC also flows from your section 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 as well. And now, after doing up this entire calculation, what do? We file up a return. That return is a part of my section 39. That return is a part of my section 39. And if there
Nilesh
is
bhai को host बनाया, ठीक है, उनको वापस मेरे को host बनाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है. हाँ, उनको बोलता मेरे को host बनाने को, ठीक है. Okay, bye.
And if there is any error, a mismatch or a information gap between what we have filed and that whatever is the information with the department, we get a notice out of that impact. Or we get a mismatch, that is ASMT 010, ASMT 10 document that comes to our email addresses. So now, first of all, understand that it is a self-assessment model. So as a professional, as a person filing the returns, you are supposed to know what the law is. Okay. It is because if there is any error, that is still rectifiable. But if there is any ignorance of law, then there is always a problem that we will face. Furnishing of outward details. Now remember, this section tells me as to kitne sare logo ko ya who are the categories of taxpayers who are supposed to file up their returns or rather furnish details of their outward supplies to the government. Now please note, the details that I furnish as a supplier, as my outward supply, also has to be communicated to the recipient of the service or recipient of the supplies. There is always a way, or rather there is always an argument. Can Nihal, why is this law so much dependent on you as a supplier to make disclosures? So let us just switch our side for once, for a time being. Okay, just once for a time being. It is obvious that as a supplier, I am supposed to disclose my sales, and I'm supposed to disclose my sales correctly. So the government feels, जब ये बंदा बोल रहा है कि उसकी इतनी सेल्स थी, तो उसकी इतनी सेल्स होनी चाहिए. There cannot be a point wherein जिसको उसने सेल किया, that is rather जो whoever is the recipient is dictating as to what the sales is of the supplier. This is just a food for thought argument. Now I know and I understand that if the supplier gets angry on me for whatever is the reason, there can be mischiefs that is being played. By mischief, I mean it was a B2B supply, उसने जानबूझ के B2C में disclose कर दिया, and we are helpless over it. But at the same point, we as recipients may not be allowed to dictate to the supplier what the sales is. But again, I am not saying that we should not be given a space to show, to highlight, to convey our purchases to the government. Now, however, that being said, remember that you are also a supplier for somebody, so you are supposed to disclose all the details by the 10th of the month. The commissioner has a power.
कर रहा हूँ सर, डाउनलोड हो रहा है.
The
शेयर डाउनलोड हो रहा है, 2 मिनट.
The commissioner has the power to extend that date, and we know that for all practical purposes, the due date is 11th. Okay, but the law still is on 10th. Now, there is also a proviso to this section. The proviso says,
करूँ सर, डाउनलोड करिए.
the proviso says कि आप 11th से लेके 15th तक, okay, from 11th of a particular month to 15th of a particular month, you are not allowed, you will not be allowed to file up your GSTR 1. Now I'm asking you, sir, is this implemented? Any panelist, if you can answer me, is this proviso implemented? कि आपको 11 से लेकर 15 तक आपकी सेल्स की डिटेल हम नहीं भरने देते?
No, sir, not as yet.
It is not yet implemented, and therefore, remember, whenever the law is not implemented in totality, it always works in your favor. Sir, we are on page number 7.
Just a moment, sir, I'll do it.
All right. I'm waiting for you to display it on the screen so that I can actually connect it with better. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, sir. On the previous slide. Perfect, sir. Sir, on the previous slide.
One more.
Yes, sir. I want to see the provision. Perfect, sir. This is where it is. Now, is this provision implemented? Is this provision effective in real, on the go? No. The answer to this is no. This proviso is not effective. And therefore, I say, whenever a law is not implemented in totality, it works in your favor. क्यों? आपने प्रोविजन, आपने रेस्ट्रिक्शन तो लगा दी कि चलो आपको हम ये टाइम के बाद में डिटेल्स भरने नहीं देंगे, बट आपने ट्रू सेंस में अप्लाई नहीं किया उसको. So when it is not implemented in its true sense, you are at a liberty, I would use the word correctly, you are at a liberty to argue it on this point. That, sir, the proviso says my outward supplies would be blocked. कहाँ पर ब्लॉक हुई? मैं सेक्शन 38 खोल के देखता हूँ. वहां पर I see that I would be allowed to furnish my inward supplies details. Sir, कहाँ पर मुझे परमिशन मिली to furnish my inward supply details? And therefore, जो आपने मेरे को half baked law दिया है, I am working on it. Now I know portal की glitches है, but sorry sir, whenever a law is implemented, we do not take it that portal की glitches also have to be accepted by us. That is something which, as a taxpayer, I am not supposed to accept. Next, I go and I read my section 37 subclause 2. It says, sir, we'll have to go to the next slide. It says that whatever is the details that has been communicated back to you, which means, and I'm very categorically when I say this, which means that there is a right with your recipient to dictate terms to you, to dictate back the terms to you, that hello, you are my supplier, I agree to it, but I have all the legal claimable documents and you have not disclosed things in your return correctly. So when you have not disclosed things in your return correctly, now I am dictating it to you that आपने से पर्टिकुलर इनवॉइस नंबर 100 नहीं डिस्क्लोज किया, मेरे पास में वो इनवॉइस नंबर 100 है आपका, अब आप इसे एक्सेप्ट कीजिए, आपको वो डिटेल्स एक्सेप्ट करनी पड़ेगी. This being said, this is pure law. Implementation of it, we all know, has not happened. And therefore, this is again a thing that the taxpayer can use in his favor, that I am given a half-baked law. I am given, at least allow me to give my disclosures. I do not have a problem. You restrict my credit. I do not have a problem with it. But I have a problem that I don't get to put my point. As a professional, as a person who deals with taxes, remember, you should always be given a chance to disclose your facts with respect to outward supplies and with respect to inward supplies, ITC. The major thing that hurts me is I don't get a chance to disclose my facts. Coming back, the thing that I have bold and italic, it says that whatever is the details that my recipient pass to me, I'll have to either accept it or I'll have to reject it on or before the 17th day. We know that even after 4.5 years of GST being implemented, we don't have this facility. And when you don't have this facility, always remember that this section, this subsection, this part has not been suspended. You may come up with an argument, sir, the rules are silent on it. Agreed. Sir, the rules have been pushed forward. Agreed. But the section is not yet touched. So when this section remains intact, your right to question remains intact. I hope I am very clear as to what, why. Next, section 37, subclause 3. It says that any registered person who has furnished the details and which have remained unmatched under 42 or 43, Now remember, when the law was implemented, it was not the duty of the taxpayer to match the details. The duty, the onus to match the details was on the portal, was on the government. It was never on us. After the law was implemented, the duty was shifted to us. It is because as and when I read section 42, I read section 43, I combine it with section 37, it is clear Nihal, Nilesh bhai, Vijay bhai का काम नहीं था to match the details. Available करवा दिया is good, fantastic, I appreciate it, love you for that, but it was not my duty to do it. It was not my task to actually go ahead and match the details. Therefore, remember, उनका काम आप कर रहे हो. 42, 43 अगर आप डिटेल में पढ़ते हो, 42, 43 अगर आप डिटेल में पढ़ते हो, you will understand that at all the places it is the communication of the discrepancies shall be communicated. Now when I understand shall be communicated, it means आप मुझे बताओगे, मैं खुद आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करूंगा, आप मुझे बताओगे कि निहाल ये बंदे का तेरा डिटेल्स मैच नहीं हो रहा है. अब कोई मुझे बोलेगा सर यू ऑलरेडी हैव 2A, बट देन 2A इज नॉट अ मैचिंग मैकेनिज्म बिकॉज आपने मुझे एक्सेप्ट, रिजेक्ट, डिलीट, डिस्क्लोज का ऑप्शन नहीं दिया है. वो सिर्फ आपने मेरे को बोल दिया सी दिस इज व्हाट योर सप्लायर्स हैव डिस्क्लोज्ड. इफ यू अग्री टू इट फाइन, इफ यू डोंट अग्री टू इट फाइन. This is not what the law intends, or at least to my little experience, this is not what the intention of the law is. Now let us go ahead and also understand कि rule क्या है, because section 37 gives a lot of references to in the manner prescribed. Now the rule is rule. Sir, next slide. Rule 59. The rule is you need to furnish your GSTR1 for the month or quarter. कब furnish करना है? 11 तारीख या उससे पहले आप कर दीजिए. और ये क्वार्टर किसके लिए है? That is for the QRMP taxpayers. Next, we go to the next rule and we understand that the registered taxpayer is who obviously opts for the QRMP scheme is not required to file up their GSTR1 every month. उसको बोला है आप क्वार्टर में एक बार GSTR1 करते. The facility of IFF, okay, invoice furnishing facility, is also optional. Understand a very practical scenario which you all face. Nihal, the other person is in QRMP. He has sold goods to me. He has given services to me. For the first 2 quarters, he does not discloses. He does not discloses his, or rather, he does not furnishes his IFF. उसने disclose नहीं किया, so it is not communicated to you. And if it is not communicated to you, you will stand up in arms against the department. I have the invoice. Now, when you say you have the invoice, but सामने वाले ने नहीं disclose किया, is it a working capital loss? Unfortunately, yes. It is also one of the reasons that we face so much of information or the notice that is being issued from the side of the department. See, understand. आपके पास में 100 रुपए का क्रेडिट है बुक्स में, आपको 2B में 70 रुपए का क्रेडिट दिखता है, आपको 2A में 100 रुपए का क्रेडिट दिखता है. Just browse through your rules. I will obviously take you through them. But again, after the session is over, just browse through your rules once. You will see that a lot of references is not given to 2B. The references are still directed towards 2A. So when the references are directed towards 2A, 2B को आपने prima facie importance दे दिया. Is this correct or is this not correct? I believe it is a decision of the policy makers to decide, but to my understanding and to my legal interpretations, I don't feel 2B as a tool is reliable. I don't feel that. Sorry to say this, because आपने कहीं पर भी references में 2A, 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 सब जगह पर 2 है in rules. Implementation के time पे 2B, 2B, 2B. So then there is some mismatch that is happening. Either the rules have to be changed, amended, and given a retrospective effect के जहां पर भी 2A था, it is all to be read as 2B, or follow 2B, or rather, sorry, follow 2A. But again, this is my legal reading. You may feel near you are moving, inching, and rushing towards litigation. Yes, I am. It is because law is a written part of it, not an implemented part of it. This being said, IFF की भी फैसिलिटी अगर 50 लाख के ऊपर आपने इनवॉइस इशू कर दी तो वो आपको डिस्क्लोज करने नहीं देता. तो क्या बेसिस पे 50 लाख डिटरमाइन करने का? फीफो बेसिस, लीफो बेसिस, एवरेज आउट ऑफ फ्रॉम द पार्टीज, व्हाट? यार गिव मी समथिंग दैट इज implemented in its true sense. अब यहाँ पर 50 लाख की लिमिट डाल के what is the relevance? It is something that I did not understand when this limit was introduced. It is something that I do not understand now as well. I am sure at the end of the session, the respected Vijaya sir would explain me to this logic as well. But then I am still waiting and trying to figure out कि भाई logic क्या है 50 लाख रुपए का लिमिट डालने की. IFF की लास्ट डेट 13th of the said month, which means आप 14th तारीख तक तो आप अपना 3B भरने के बारे में सोच भी नहीं सकते. ओके, सो आप 11 तारीख तक अपना GSTR 1 फिल कीजिए, 13 तक आप IFF फिल कीजिए, और उसके बाद में वेट whether the said details are reflecting on the portal or not. Now why I say this, it is because just in the previous month my IFF was not even, my GSTR 2B was not even reflecting on the 20th. मतलब मैं 20th जनवरी की बात कर रहा हूँ. 20 तारीख तक भी मेरे को 2B नहीं दिख रहा था. अब जब मेरे को 20 तारीख तक 2B नहीं दिख रहा है, मैं क्या बेसिस पे क्रेडिट लूं? I only have one basis, that is my books of accounts. क्यों? क्योंकि if at all I go ahead and touch out 2A, ASMT 10 आ जाएगा सीधा. I would be receiving a notice. It is in excess of something. But the portal is not allowing me to view my 2B as well. Again, a very challenging situation for all the people like you, people like me. But again, that being said, we'll have to live with what the law is. The next slide is something that I always discuss whenever I discuss about the GST law. With great power comes great responsibility. Now, why I say this is because जो next slides अपन देखेंगे, they all talk about ITC, आपकी inward supplies. So it is a utmost power that the government has allowed you all. निहाल, जाओ ITC ले लो, पहले पूरा लॉ समझ लो, अंडरस्टैंड एवरीथिंग, अंडरस्टैंड क्या डिटेल्स आपको अपलोड करनी है, कैसे अपलोड करनी है, और फिर जाओ अपना ITC क्लेम कर लो. सो जब आप मुझे कहते हो कि आप अपना आईटीसी क्लेम कर लो, मैं सबसे पहले तो एक ही चीज समझूंगा कि मुझे कौन सी डिटेल्स कब कब भरनी है. I move on to the next slide and I ask you a simple question. Okay, it is a very simple question. Any one of the panelists can answer. Is section 38 suspended? Sir, एक और बार क्लिक कीजिए. Is section 38 suspended or it is effective? Any one of the panelists can answer this question. Section 38 suspend कर दिया है कि अभी भी इफेक्ट में है?
It is in
It
effect,
is in
sir.
effect, sir. It is in effect.
So
It is
if
not
it
suspended, I think so.
No, it is not suspended. It is
It is
absolutely
not suspended. It is in force. It is in force, G.
It is in force. So when I say that it is in force, I draw your attention to the highlighted, to the capitalized, may include therein the details that have not been declared by the supplier. So when the section is in force, it is in effect, is not been suspended. So how do I receive a notice when the law is half-baked? How do I furnish you something when something which you should have done and has not been done? So with this section remaining effective, and I am sure we have all read the form GSTR 2 and form GSTR 3 has been dropped, has been staggered. अरे it is all fine. आपने फॉर्म कैंसिल किया, आपने सेक्शन कैंसिल नहीं किया है, ये आपका एक बहुत अच्छा ग्राउंड ऑफ डिफेंस है, which even the department will accept that जब सेक्शन प्लेस में है, जब आपको चांस ही नहीं दिया जा रहा है टू पुट ऑन योर थॉट्स, जस्ट बिकॉज आपने रूल सस्पेंड कर दिया, that does not mean you get away or rather you lose your right. So please note, always quote up this section, especially section 38(1), that with this in place, you do not, or rather you have not been given a chance only. Okay, disclose up what you feel is correct. I hope I am making sense to all of you. Let us move ahead. Section, or rather rule 60. It talks about form and the manner, ascertaining details of inward supplies. Now, if you run through these rules, section 61, sorry, section rule 60, sub rule 1, to rule 60, sub rule 6, they all refer to your GSTR 2, and they do not have any reference of your form GSTR 2B. Out of sudden, the government thought, yeah, let us introduce 2B. Okay, let us just introduce 2B. And then they thought, यार 2B लिखूं किधर में, because वो इनवर्ट सप्लाईज की बात तो कर रहा है, बट मेरे रूल सारे के सारे 2A की तरफ रेफरेंस दे रहे. एंड आई एम श्योर 2A में ये पॉइंट ही है, पार्ट ए, पार्ट बी, पार्ट 2, पार्ट सी एंड पार्ट डी. Recently enough, I believe, I do not remember when exactly, but it was only very recently के 2A आपको ये स्टेटस दे रहा था कि whether the counterparty has filed their 3B or not. Remember yaar, just understand. If you say कि 2B is the base, if you say that 2B is the base, either give me that information over. If you say 2A is not the base, so don't expect me to go ahead and check 2A every time I am filing my 3B. इतना ज़्यादा कभी बोलते हो 2A देखो, कभी बोलते हो 2B देखो. It is like, do ask me to look something at one point of place. आप मुझे एक चीज के लिए 10 जगह घुमाओगे, तो then it is not appropriate. Now I do not say that it is wrong, it is right, it is what. That is not for me to conclude, because I am neither a high court nor a Supreme Court nor the policy makers. But yes, as a person, अगर मुझे एक चीज के लिए 10 जगह घूमना पड़ता है, तो it irritates me, it frustrates me, and as a professional also the same feelings are there. So यार, या तो आप मेरे को 2B कह दो, या तो आप मुझे 2A कह दो. आप बार बार अलग अलग जगह का अगर रेफरेंस दोगे, see, confusion will create litigation. Do we really intend to litigate on everything that is possible in this law? I do not feel so. It is because I am reading the law since its first draft was out. That is the model GST law. Going through the entire draft of events that has happened, I could not find a place where the law was intending to litigate or the legal framework was intending to litigate. But the implementation of it, I reserve my comment. So finally, we are seeing the birth of GSTR to be Rule 60, Sub-Rule 7, an auto-drafted statement containing the details of ITC. Sir, we'll have to go to the next slide. Shall be furnished electronically to the recipient. अब उसमें क्या details रहेगा? Whatever your supplier has supplied, either in GSTR 1 or has supplied in your GSTR 5, 6, or has supplied in your IFF, if you are a QRMP taxpayer, and QRMP taxpayer को 3rd month में GSTR 1 भरना पड़ता है. So the structure of 2B would be something like this. पहले जो routine taxpayers है, जो monthly filers है, उनका details आएगा. फिर अगर कोई NRTP, that is non-resident taxable person, or if there is an input service distributor, उसकी details आएगी. And after that, if you are lucky enough and if you find yourself in someone's IFF, तो उसकी details आ जाएगी. Last month में तो सबकी details आ ही जाएगी. When I say this, IFF as a facility or QRMP as a tool was not there. Okay. I appreciate and I am in full favor that yes, the taxpayers need to be provided with certain relaxations if they are small in size. But when you provide any facility to a taxpayer who is small in size, at least ensure that there is no integration issues that take place. Now, what do I mean by the term integration issues? आपने QRMP तो दे दिया, लेकिन जो ITC था, जिसका ITC था, you are like, you suffer it. Why? We wanted to do ease of doing business. अरे appreciated, but मेरे बारे में भी सोचो. Even I am a person who is doing business. This being said, we are helpless, but we can't help. Let us move to the next slide and understand the bold part of it. I'm touching point 3, the details of the IGST paid on import of goods or services brought in from the tariff area or an SCZ on a bill of entry of this month. Now see, this is beyond our control. ठीक है, अब अगर बिल ऑफ एंट्री सामने वाले ने अपलोड नहीं की या डिपार्टमेंट इज नॉट अपलोडिंग द बिल ऑफ एंट्री or the department's person is not able to see that uploaded bill of entry, we are all stuck. I believe Nilesh bhai had also asked this question. Sir, आपको नहीं दिख रहा तो मैं क्या करूं? अरे यार वो ऑफिसर भी आपको यही बोलेगा, अब मुझे नहीं दिख रहा तो मैं भी क्या करूं? At the end, we have to stay with this law. But yes, if you approach the courts, if you approach any of the court will check whether you are in a correct legal position, sufficing with every sort of proof that is required, or you have violated a certain legal condition. अब देखो, अगर आपने लीगल कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई कर दी ना, तो ट्रस्ट मी, देयर इज नो हार्म इन गेटिंग द क्रेडिट ऑफ इट. I mean it. You approach up any courts, they would only be checking, यार, were you fulfilling the legal requirements? आपके पास में सब कुछ था, अब पोर्टल पर नहीं दिख रहा, तो आपको क्रेडिट डिसअलाउ तो नहीं हो सकता, बट उसके लिए कोर्ट तक जाना ही पड़ेगा. बिकॉज जैसे अपनी लिमिटेशंस है विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू टाइम, with respect to the resources, with respect to everything. Even the department has its own limitations. And by this, when I say this, I do not have any soft corner for the department. Trust me. I am not saying this because the Honorable Commissioner Sir is over here. It is because जब आपके हाथ में ही कुछ नहीं है, तो आप क्या करोगे? See, law है, right? Law will work on documents. Law will work on what the whatever is the matter presented. अब say for example, आपने lower level authority से clear भी करवा लिया, क्या होएगा? At the end, what will happen? Review में जाएगी file. Whenever it goes to the review, the person will be called for, okay, why had you cleared this when it is not visible over here? And then there would be addition back. That is what will happen practically in reality. And therefore, if they do not permit it at the lower levels, please, there is no point in argumenting with them. Either approach a person who is at a higher level, or I hate to say this, or approach the courts. Or approach the courts. There is no way out. There is no way we can do anything about it. You see that there will always be a reference of returns. Achha. Before touching it, I hope I am clear till now, and I hope I am making sense to everybody over here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Now let us go to section 39, furnishing of returns. Why I say this? It is because अब तक अपन ने जो भी देखा ना, वो सारी details. We do not want to work on details. मिसमैच अगर होगा ना, तो हम आपको नोटिस जरूर पकड़ा देंगे, ये डिटेल और ये डिटेल मैच नहीं हो रही, दिस डिटेल इज नॉट मैचिंग विथ योर रिटर्न. बट एज अ बेस फॉर एनीथिंग टू कम टू यू, एज अ बेस टू रिसीव एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ नोटिस, दैट बेस हैज टू बी अ रिटर्न. एंड section 37 is not written, it is details. Section 38 is not a return, it is a detail. And when I say that whatever we discussed now was only a detail, we'll also have to understand return क्या है. आपका return Bharti Airtel Limited, please do not forget this name. Why I say this name? It is because the Honorable Supreme Court in its judgment of Bharti Airtel Limited had said 3B is a valid return. So when the Supreme Court acknowledges something, we also acknowledge the same. So याद रखना, whenever I pass on any reference to the return, I am talking about 3B. I am not talking about what the law should be. I am rather talking about what the law is at present. It is because once the Honorable Supreme Court says, yes, it is a return, as a taxpayer, what do we say? Yes, it is a return. You may feel Nihal is helpless over here. Nihal is also trying to accept certain things which he should not, but then you cannot go ahead of the Supreme Court. Sorry. Section 39. It talks about return filing for QRMP taxpayers, and it also talks about return filing for other than QRMP taxpayers. Sir, can we just go to the next slide? For other than QRMPs, it is a calendar month, and for the QRMPs, it is a every quarter के आपको return भरना पड़े. I believe nothing much to discuss over here. So let us move to the next slide. Rule, sorry, it has got misplaced. It is not section 61(1), it is rule 61. The form and manner in which you are supposed to disclose your returns. Remember, when I talk about this, I talk about QRMP taxpayers, and I also talk about people other than the QRMP taxpayers. Now, if I have to ask you all a very simple question, suppose करो आप monthly taxpayer, okay, आप monthly taxpayers हो और आपका एक client है से मणिपुर में, okay, वो भी return monthly भरता है, तो उसके लिए ड्यू डेट क्या है? 20th of the month या 24th of the month या anything other than 20th of the month? Sir, this was a question.
It is different state-wise, so I'm not aware what is the date of Manipur because unfortunately.
Absolutely, sir. This is the thing that I wanted to highlight. Even if you are a monthly taxpayer, the due dates are staggered. The due dates are staggered, though the rules have no reference to it. But yes, by the way of a notification, they have staggered the due dates. And once the due dates get staggered, remember, it also works in your favor. Why? So rules are not updated. So when the rules are not updated, remember, we need to follow what the rule is. Okay, notification hai in place, absolutely. Hai in place, absolutely hai. But rules में तो कुछ नहीं लिखा. And ये जो मैं rules refer कर रहा हूँ, they are as updated as on 1st of January 2022. So the rules are backdated and the rules have not been updated. It is something that you need to keep in your mind. For QRMP, the rules have only been provided with you with a staggered time. That is fine. Now comes the most dangerous section. After that, we'll be discussing the most dangerous rule. So now, let us see section 16, which talks about eligibility and conditions for claiming of input tax credit. Now, I am not discussing कि course or furtherance of business में होना चाहिए. It is restricted to your business use 999. Let us only discuss what causes an ASMT 10 to come to you. First, you need to have a duty paying document. That is fine. B, he has received goods or service. That is also fine. C, the tax charged is actually paid to the government, something impossible I am expected to do. And D, the returns have been furnished under section 39. Now, when I say 39, I again refer back to my supplier filing his return plus me filing my return. Now, remember, supplier filing his return is beyond my control. Therefore, point C and point D are something beyond my control. I have no control over it. Point double F, or rather section 16 clause 2 sub clause double F. It says that the details of invoice as referred to above has been furnished by the supplier in the statement of outward supplies. यहाँ तक ठीक था, मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं थी अगर ये आपने ऐड किया होता. आपने जो लास्ट का पार्ट ऐड किया है, this is a problem. And now whenever you understand the term and, I also understand कि अब वो पहले वाला पार्ट भी प्रॉब्लम देगा. And such details have been communicated to the recipient. Arey yaar, now this is again an impossible event on me. Why it is an impossible event on me? It is because you are expecting me, a recipient, to check whether supplier ने अपना GSTR1 correctly भरा है कि नहीं भरा है. अब मैं क्या करूं, अपने अकाउंटेंट को ये भी बोलूं भाई उसका GSTR1 रिव्यू कर ले, अपना relevant part रिव्यू कर ले. नहीं 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 नहीं, this is not practical. So when it is not practical, understand that this section will give you a lot of trouble. As a taxpayer, as an advisor, as a person who is receiving notices, as whatsoever. For the department, it is very clear. सामने वाले का आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज में दिख रहा है, मैं तेरे को क्रेडिट दे दूंगा, उसमें नहीं दिख रहा है, मैं तेरे को क्रेडिट नहीं देता, जा. क्यों? They have a legal backing. Section 16(2)(a). Now, when I say that they have a legal backing, remember to always evaluate what you feel, whether this section is retrospective or it is prospective. I'm sure we all understand what is retrospective. मतलब 1st of July 17 से implemented. Prospective मतलब 1st of January 2022 से implemented. What in your understanding is section 2AA, section 16(2)AA? It is retrospective or it is prospective? Okay. Jabir sir says it is prospective. Anybody who feels it is retrospective, or we are all of the same understanding that it is prospective, it cannot be retrospective. Prospective. Okay. Absolutely correct. It is prospective. And when I conclude that it is prospective, remember, if you get a notice for the years 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, up to December 2021, this section cannot be forced on you. This section cannot be forced on you, which means you stand a very good chance that, hello, listen, the section that you talk about is prospective in nature. Retrospective amendment nahi hai ye law mein. I hope you understand the crucialness of what I am talking, because we all know that if it is favorable to one person, be it the taxpayer, be it the department, we would always be willing and rushing to use it in our favor. No, the law is important, also crucially important. कब से implemented है? ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको जो 31 तारीख को आया या for the month of December अगर कुछ आता है तो they would say section 16(2)AA के हिसाब से we are issuing you a notice. Sorry, you cannot do that. That notice itself is bad in law. I hope I am very clear. Rule 36. I'm only discussing the relevant part of the rule. So my rule 36(4). I know that there are a lot of school of thoughts on it. Some say there is no backing or power with the government to insert such a rule. From whenever it started. And some say that rule बनाया है, हम follow करेंगे. आपने जो stand लिया है, fight for it. Fight for it. Because when it is a matter of law, you are bound to have multiple interpretations. And whenever you have multiple interpretations, it is not about what is right or what is wrong. It is always about what is more appropriate. See, I'll give you an example. SLM and WDV, दोनों depreciation का methods allowed है अपने. ना SLM गलत है, ना WDV गलत है. But अपने को क्या follow करना रहता है? That is our call to take. and therefore 36(4) आपको फॉलो करना है या आपको फॉलो नहीं करना है, आई लीव इट टू यू। जो भी आपने किया है उसके हिसाब से फाइट। ऐसा मत कहीं पर जाके बोलते ना, डू नॉट एवर क्रॉस डाउन योर ओन कंटेंशन, दैट कहीं पर आप बोलते हो नहीं नहीं 36(4) फॉलो कर रहा हूं, कहीं पर आप बोलते हो मैं 36(4) फॉलो नहीं करना चाहता। ऑल्सो अ प्रो टिप, let your clients take up this call, though I know I'm late to tell it to you, but I got the opportunity today only. So 36(4) follow किया था, नहीं किया था, let your clients decide. आप क्यों डिसीजन ले रहे हो उनके खिलाफ? I'm advising it to you as a professional. हाँ, अब अगर खुद की फाइल है, आप आई एम श्योर आप सब जीएसटी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन हो, तो वो कॉल आप ही का रहेगा। आई एम श्योर, ओके, वी आर ऑल ऑन द सेम पेज। Part B, it says in form 2B of rules of sub rule 7 of rule 60, जो अपन ऑलरेडी देख चुके। 2A 2B, what is to be followed is always a matter of confusion, is always a matter of litigation. This being said, there is no rule or there is no indication to at least my little understanding which says 2B is superior to 2A, 2A is inferior to 2B. You only need to follow 2B, you can ignore 2A. I could not find any references like that. If any one of you could, you would surely take up this thing, but not now. We'll take it up at the end of our discussion. Next section. And I am getting up messages in the chat box as well. Trust me, I would take it, but I do not want to disturb our flow and get into query solving right now. So now let us read section 42, which talks about matching, reversals, and reclaim of ITC. Panelists on the panel, is section 42 effective or it is suspended?
It is effective, sir.
It is effective, G.
Sir, when I say it is effective, let us read it. The details of every inward supply furnished by a registered person. इतना ही पढ़ लो। आपको मिलता है क्या चांस टू फर्निश योर इनवर्ड सप्लाई का डिटेल्स? नो, नहीं मिलता। In such manner and within such time period as prescribed, be matched with all such details. Again, when I read the term or if I understand English grammar correctly, it says that it will be matched. So when I say कि आपने मेरे को डिटेल देनी है और वो मैच होगी, ओके, when I say आपको डिटेल देनी है और वो मैच होगी, यार इसका ये मतलब तो नहीं बैठता कि मैं मैच करूंगा। आई एम वेरी क्लियर ऑन इट। आई डू नॉट हैव एन इंटेंशन, I do not see a reason why I as a taxpayer should be sitting and matching it. We do it because it is a good practice. Is it a legal practice or it is not a legal practice is something that I have my own reservations on. If I read this correctly, it only asks me as a taxpayer to furnish up the details on the portal. It does not ask me as a taxpayer to sit in front of my laptop and match it. But again, I repeat, this is my interpretation. You can differ, it is fine. Next, let us again, I'll give you the logic as well as to why I read it that way. Let us refer section 42(2). Whatever is the claim, read the bolded part. Shall be finally accepted and such acceptance shall be communicated. अब कौन communicate करेगा? मैं खुद को? No. obviously some other person has to communicate it to me that it has been finally accepted, and yes, that communication has been received. It shall be communicated to the recipient. Now when I read this section, it tells me that वो आपको communicate किया जाएगा कि कुछ accept हो गया है. Is this happening? No. Is this section suspended? No. Is this section say deferred? Again I repeat, no. So if it is not suspended, if it is not deferred, if it is there right here to stay, it becomes a stand for you to take. That I am again asked to do something which I was never required to do. Let's read section 42.3. Where the input tax credit as claimed by the recipient is in excess of the tax declared by the supplier, the discrepancy shall be communicated to both such persons in the manner as may be prescribed. So I am again hinting towards what कि यार मैचिंग का काम आपका कभी था तो नहीं, हाँ अब करना पड़ रहा है. I agree, I am also doing it, you are also doing it, we are all sailing in the same boat, but trust me, from a legal viewpoint, it was not our job to do it. Now this being said, again let us read the next thing, the next slide. It says that the duplication of all such claims shall be communicated. Now what do I mean by the term shall? कि मुझे वापस कोई और communicate करने वाला है. And when I understand the term shall, it means it is compulsory for somebody to communicate it to. Duplicate हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, 2A में भी दिख गया, 2B में अगले महीने दिख रहा है, ये कौन कर रहा है फिलहाल? सब अपन कर रहे हैं. Was it our part? Was it our responsibility? Is something that again I have my own reservations. Let us see rule 69, which talks about matching of claim of input tax credit. It says that the following item shall be matched, provided where the time limit has been extended, that is fine. But remember, the reference that I see over here is not to GSTR 3B. The reference that I see over here is again towards GSTR 3. So I can go on and on and on and say law is not uniform. The manner in which the law has been implemented is not up to the mark or the way in which they are intended. Does that work in your favor? Absolutely true. But when I say this, does that mean that it is not required to justify it? No. You will have to justify each and every word that I say. Each and every word that I say. Each and every section that I use. Each and every communication that I am doing. I'll give you a small example, very small of it. Say for example, आपने बोल दिया कि सर सेक्शन 42 इम्प्लीमेंटेड नहीं है या सर सेक्शन 42 के हिसाब से आई एम नॉट सपोज्ड टू डू एनी मैचिंग. वहां से काउंटर क्या आएगा? हमने आपको डिटेल्स अवेलेबल तो करवा दी, अब सेक्शन 42 में ये थोड़ी लिखा है कि पोर्टल मैच करके देगा. वो आर्ग्यूमेंट आएगा वहां से, करेक्ट आएगा, तो तब आपको ये काउंटर करना पड़ेगा. सर तो शैल बी कम्युनिकेटेड टू द रेसिपिएंट का मतलब क्या होगा? जो भी डिस्क्रिपेंसी होगी वो कम्युनिकेटेड टू द रेसिपिएंट का मतलब क्या होगा? I'm just giving you an example of how to evaluate it. See, the law is same for the department, the law is same for us. It all depends on how you interpret it and how you present your matter. I hope I am clear. Let us read and understand what are the explanations to Rule 16. It says that the claim of input tax credit in respect of invoices as furnished in Form GSTR 2 as furnished in form GSTR 2 that were accepted by the recipient on the basis of 2A. So what is the explanation trying to tell me कि आपको भी हमने चांस दिया था ना 2 भरने का, आपने भरा होगा, आपने भर के फिर 2A में एक्सेप्ट करके देखा होगा, और वो जो आपने मैच किया है हम वही तो सप्लाईज मैच हो गई ऐसा मान रहे. So when I say this, are you in a position to fill GSTR 2? Answer is no. So when you are not in a position to fill GSTR 2, this again works in your favor. Second, the claim of input tax credit shall be considered as matched if the amount of ITC claimed is either equal to what is disclosed or lower than what is disclosed. I'll give you why this lower than part is there, because equal to तो सबको मालूम पड़ जाता. एक पर्टिकुलर सप्लाई आपको मिली है, okay, say for example आपको मेरी सप्लाई मिली है. You tell me, Nihal, that do one thing, do our audit, or your client tells you that Mr. or Miss so and so please conduct our audit. उसने अपनी ऑडिट के साथ में बोला कि यार because you have conducted our audit, also file our own personal returns. You are like, okay. आपने एक consolidated invoice दिया है on the company. Now tell me one thing, whether the entire ITC is claimable or it is not claimable. This is a question. Whether the entire ITC that you have raised on the company, so directors, 5 directors, जब आपने पांचों का personal ITR भी भरा है, whether that entire ITC is claimable by the company or it is not claimable by. Any panelist?
Sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Online,
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
So can you claim the entire amount of ITC that was charged? It is not claimable. Absolutely correct, Bhavin bhai.
It could not be claimed, sir. It could not be claimed.
It cannot be claimed in totality.
Yeah,
That is
yes.
what my question is.
Okay, sir.
So
Yes.
when it cannot be claimed in totality, say 10,000 का ITC था और आपने 8,000 का ITC claim किया. So the government says, or the rules, the explanation to the rule says that it is matched. 10,000 का ITC charge हुआ है and you are claiming 12,000, 15,000. See, that is bogus. Okay. Now let us understand. Acha, am I clear till here? It is because till here we were all discussing self-assessment, the provisions of self-assessment, from where to self-assess, what to self-assess, and why to self-assess. Our role as professional is over here. Now we would be seeing the law from the department's view. So if I am clear of my role as a professional, I go ahead and discuss the roles of the department. Am I clear with respect to my roles?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So now let us understand scrutiny of returns. Now remember, the information that you furnish is bound to be checked, is bound to be validated. There is no harm, I repeat, there is no harm in the department scrutinizing your return. I repeat, it is absolutely correct. Now, why I say this is because I remember that I saw a thing came to me for review, wherein the department had scrutinized the returns and the department has calculated some amount of interest. Whatever was the calculation, I did not get very brief out of it. But then that thing came to me for review. Nihal, just review whether the letter that we are putting it up, whether that is correct or that is incorrect. Okay, I just went through the reviews. I just checked it off. I only had one objection. Only one objection. That the last lines were, we request you to please stop the scrutiny of the returns. Sorry, you cannot request that. You cannot just request that. Reason, आपने details दिया is wonderfully appreciated, but it is the right of the department to verify the correctness. What is the harm? I mean, they are just doing their job. Like we do our job, they are also doing their job. And when they do their job and they find any discrepancies, it is precisely at that point of time that you receive an ASMT 10. So after discussing the matter for say an hour, or rather it started from 10. So from 10 to 12, it is the first time that I talk about ASMT 10. See, understand, we do our job, let the department also do theirs.
Sir.
They are right when they scrutinize their returns.
Yes.
They are absolutely correct. They give you an ASMT 10, and what do they ask? They say that please furnish us the details. So what are they asking it? What are they actually asking is only one thing: reconciliation, reconciliation, and reconciliation. If I put it very correctly, in the words of one of my super senior professionals, he says, Nihal, the only thing that can save you in GST is reconciliation, reconciliation, and reconciliation. हर एक चीज का रिको बना डाल. Do not leave anything untouched. I am like, sir, is this practical? He says, Nihal, it is not practical, but it is the only feasible option that we have. You are in the month of say January, do all your reconciliations till December and close it off. I said, sir, understand what you're talking about. He says, Nihal, I know what I'm talking about. The only thing that can save you is reconciliation. He gives you an ASMT 10, the department gives you an ASMT 10. You furnish an information, you furnish an explanation in the form ASMT 11. Now, if it is acceptable, trust me, you would be informed and no further action would be taken. Honorable sir, this is my question to you, and please answer it in the end. I'm in no hurry to receive the answer. I have seen cases where personally the department does not issue a closure order. Now, why is that closure order not issued is something that I am not able to digest or not able to understand. But then I request you to, if your protocol permits, please answer it. And if it is beyond your protocol, I get that part as well. But I'll accept your answers, or rather I will love to get your answers at the. I hope we are clear that ASMT 10 ठीक है आ गया, आपने ASMT 10 11 में reply भी कर दिया, ठीक है. The department has accepted it. But remember, जब आपको एक ASMT 10 आएगा तो आपको एक टाइम लिमिट दी जाए कि निहाल or rather say Mr. or Miss, please furnish us the details in so many days. Now remember, that time that is provided to you, it has to be reasonable. I had received a notice wherein it was sent to me at Saturday 6 p.m. I was supposed to reply to it by Monday 11 a.m. Trust me, it is not reasonable. Whether there is a say the time limit ending on the part of the department or a time barring case that is appearing. Sorry, this is not a way to issue any notice or any show cause. Though we are not discussing show cause over here, but this is not the way it is supposed to be. And therefore, when I say, if that ASMT 10 has something unrealistic, please reply that provide us with more time. I request you, if you want to buy time, if you want more further time, reply. Now, when I say this, that you reply, section 61(3) tells, or rather it puts up a condition, not on me. Why? Because मेरा काम हो गया, taxpayer मैंने आपको ASMT 11 दे दिया, अब काम है आपका. You are the respected tax official. You need to act within a proper time. Now, what is that proper time? It tells me 30 days of being informed by the officer. Okay, मतलब आपने ASMT 10 दे दिया मुझे और उसमें बोला 15 दिन में रिप्लाई करना. I will wait. I can buy time. Agar even if I don't buy time, the law says that if no satisfactory explanation is furnished within 30 days of being informed by the officer, 30 दिन तक का तो टाइम मेरे पास में फिर भी लॉ ही दे रहा है. With that thing said, please do not take up this section for granted. Please do not use this subsection as a protection shield. It is because the concept of 30 days is being derived from a reasonability clause. If the officer gives you 15 days ka time, and if you don't, go ahead and ask के नहीं मुझे और टाइम चाहिए, आप इसको as shield use नहीं कर पाओगे. Firstly, secondly, 15 दिन भी reasonable count हो सकता है, because the concept of reasonability is quite subjective. Now, with this being said, आपने 30 days के अंदर inform किया कि भाई, this is the clause, this is the reconciliation and everything. If it is satisfactory, fine, nothing to be done. If it is not satisfactory, or if you just rerun through your books after receiving ASMT 10, you see that yes, an error was there. Okay, the officer is correct in his approach that yes, there was an error. I accept that error. So, my dear colleagues, once you accept that error, please note you are supposed to take up corrective measures for it. And what is the corrective measures? Rectify it. Okay, rectify that in the month in which, or in the next month. That is what the corrective action is. It says that if you fail to take corrective measures in the return for the month in which the discrepancy is accepted, say we are in the month of January 2022, the department gives you an ASMT 10, you go through it, you understand that yes, there was an error, you accept that error in the month of January 2022. So you are supposed to rectify the same in the return of January 2022. I hope I am clear. Now what will happen? We feel, no, we don't want to rectify it as well. So when you don't want to rectify it as well, is this a show cause that you have received? Is ASMT 10 a show cause notice? Yes, no.
In my view, yes, it is a show cause.
No. I'm receiving a lot of no's over here. See, to my understanding as well, it is not a show cause notice. Reason, I'll show you the particulars of ASMT 10 as well. It only asks you to identify the gap.
It is a notice, sir. It is not a show cause notice. It is just a notice
It is
to
a notice.
reconcile.
I do not say it is not a notice. I say it is not a show cause notice.
Yes, of course, it is not a show cause notice. I agree with you, sir. I agree with you.
It is not a show cause. It is just like, आपको उसने information दे दी, and now they are asking you to rectify or rather to see whether it is correct or it is not correct. So when
It's
I
only
say,
implementation of discrepancies which are noticed by the proper officer, sir. It's a-
absolutely. So when I say that it is not a show cause notice, please remember, if you fail to take up corrective actions, what will happen? A show cause would be issued to you.
Of course.
I hope I am clear. कि ये, you know, in the service tax regime there was always a concept of pre-show cause that was issued and a show cause that was later issued. So ASMT 10 can be treated at par on that pre-show cause terms. If you do not rectify it, an audit can be initiated, that is a departmental audit. A special audit can be initiated. Inspection, search, recovery proceedings can be initiated. Last but not the least, section 73, 74 proceedings can be initiated. Received ASMT 10 writing as show cause notice. Sir, that is not correct. It is not legally correct. I have already discussed rule 99. Sir, you'll have to go ahead in our slides.
The explanation furnished by the dealer is to the department for the notice issued on such 61 rule. It is no other. They will very well accept that particular one by the person. Sir.
So now let us move ahead from this as well. And now let us see what are the possible types of notices that you can receive. So next slide. These are the 7 possible types of notices which come to my mind with whatever legal or whatever little understanding of the GST law that I have. Whereas 3 deal with outward supplies, 4 deals with the ITC element. And topic which was supposed to be the backbone of the act is subjected to the most notices issued under this act. Now I understand कि you know एक हिंदी में प्रोवर्ब है कि आपकी रीढ़ की हड्डी बड़ी मजबूत होनी चाहिए, एग्री, लेकिन आप वो रीढ़ की हड्डी को बार बार कितनी मजबूत है, कितनी स्ट्रॉन्ग है, आप उसको टेस्ट नहीं कर सकते. बट अगेन लॉ है, ऐसे ही चलता आया है. I do not know what to say, but then again, these are the 7 types of notices which can possibly be issued. Type number 1. GSTR 1 versus GSTR 3B notices. Now, when I say this over here, I am only and only on the sales element, supply, outward supply element. GSTR 1 में दिखाया ज्यादा तो शो कॉज आएगा, और if you disclose in GSTR 3B excess, you would be most likely to receive a notice. Sorry, I used the word show cause. Whenever I say the term show cause, please understand that as a notice one. At what point of time are you supposed to, or rather are you most likely to get a notice? Excess in 1 or excess in 3?
Excess in 1.
Excess in 1. 1. Correct. 1. Correct. So in most likely case, अगर आपने the disclosed amount is more in 1 and lower in 3B, you are bound to receive a notice for explanation. You receive that notice. Okay. I have a rule that in my office, if we make an error in GSTR 1, we rectify it in GSTR 3. At least it is a rule in my office. So Nihal, how do you tackle this thing? We prepare, okay, what is the amount that has gone in 1? What is the amount that should have gone in 1? What has gone? What should have gone? And then we document it. The figures of 1 that has gone matches up to 2 decimal points from the figure which we have in our working. बहुत सी बार स्टाफ कैलकुलेशन करता है, एक रो स्किप हो जाती है, एक कॉलम स्किप हो जाती है. वो चक्कर में आपका 1 में अमाउंट बहुत ज्यादा दिखने लग जाता है, या जो टोटल का कॉलम रहता है वो भी आपके अमाउंट में ऐड हो जाता है. At that point of time, please note, it has to match with your working. There cannot be a situation that the amount that is disclosed in one and the working that you give has again two different figures. If that is the case, I'll only say God bless you, because then there is no concrete background or a concrete base on which you are replying. If it is more in 3B, it is okay. Why? I again tell you it is wrong. It is wrong because as taxpayers, as tax professionals, we are only supposed to do an optimum disclosure. The meaning of the term optimum is neither more nor less. Neither less nor
Not
more.
more.
Jitna hai utna. I hope I am very clear on this.
Of course.
Second, GSTR 1 versus GSTR 9 notice. ये अब तक आनी शुरू नहीं हुई है, but then to my mind, I foresee that this would also come. Nihal, why do you foresee it? What is GSTR 9? Annual return. It is a last chance for you to rectify your mistakes. It is a last chance for you to give out the proper disclosures. To my understanding, we all file our GSTR 9 only after our audit is complete. So once the audit is complete, we now understand B2B kitna hua, what was the B2C sales, what was supplies, SEZ supplies, exports, non-SEZ supplies, exempted supplies, personal supplies. Now remember, and please appreciate, it is not a compulsion that it will match with your one. So it is very well possible that they would total all of your one element wise, they would match it with your 9 and then say that there is a discrepancy notice. Bound to happen. Again, I repeat, the way of handling it is same. 1 ka reco, 9 ki working, it should match. Match with what? The figures as disclosed in your 1 respective and in your 9 respective. Third type of notice, which is not very prevalent in at least Maharashtra, but then when I had a word with my friends of Jharkhand, with my professional colleagues of Delhi, they said that Nihal, we are receiving, or also with my professional colleagues of Bihar, they said that Nihal, we are receiving such a notice which says the amount of sales made via e-way bill is particular element X versus what you have disclosed in your GSTR1 is say Y. So why did you not disclose, or why did you not generate the e-way bill for the gap amount? Now the answer to that is very simple. Just read down your e-way bill regulation once at my instance. You would have understand that there is a particular limit. If your supplies is below that limit, you are not required to generate an e-way bill. So when you're not required to generate that e-way bill, it does not mean that you are not required to disclose that off in your GSTR1. So one में तो डालना पड़ेगा, लेकिन e-way bill generate नहीं करना, या e-way bill की generation की compulsory नहीं. And therefore, a simple reply is e-way bills limit is not satisfied, or rather whatever is the fact of your case. Inward, you can get a difference of ITC claimed between 2A and 3B, between 2B and 3B, e-way bill and 3B. Now I am sure 2A versus 3B, 2B versus 3B, we have all become absolute champions of it. But e-way bill versus 3B का कैसे हो सकता? You receive an inward supply. Say 1 lakh rupees का e-way bill आपके पास में, उस पे टैक्स से 18,000 rupees. 3B में आपने जो ITC क्लेम किया है that is say 24,000 rupees. So a receipt of notice is drafted in a manner that you have claimed up an amount, or rather you have suppressed your turnover because आपने purchase ज्यादा किया है और आपने GSTR1 में कम disclose किया है. So again, I am sure कि अपने region में it is not yet experienced by any of us, but pan India, such notices are also coming.
Exactly.
3B versus 9.
Yes, we do perspect in that manner only.
Sir, you will get one more type of notice, which is e-invoice versus your GSTR one.
Very true, sir. Very true. Very true.
Yes, of
But
course.
no, but you know, sir, see, e-invoice as such is applicable to a very, elite class of people as of now. So then there is a possibility that, on a ground level, we may not receive such notice. And
Limited
therefore,
scope.
I did not like to put it up in my slide as an additional entry, but I am aware such notices are also being issued.
I am absolutely sure that you are aware. I was just adding for the purpose of the people.
No, sir. I mean, chalo, I will discuss that point later. So 3B ITC versus your 9 ITC. Again, a reconciliation to it. Please prepare and keep. Now, see, the time is 12:20. If you want, I'll obviously discuss two things. See, from notice 1 to notice 7. Sir, we can move ahead up to notice 7. I've discussed them all. Yeah, this is where we need to. From notice 1 to notice 7, it was all about possible type of notices which can come. Up to now, we have understood what are the legal backings or what is the law, written rule that would help you. There is also a legal maxim to it. It says, lex not cogit ad impossibilia, which means that the law cannot compel you to do something which is impossible or to do something which you cannot possibly perform. Why I have touched upon this maxim is, if you go and check your section 16(2), subclause C and subclause D, it is impossible for you to understand whether your supplier has issued or rather has disclosed your details correctly or incorrectly. It is not possible for you to check it. It is not possible for you to verify whether the tax has been deposited by him to the government or not deposited by him to the government. This is a very good legal backing, or rather a maxim which you can use. Next, I am sure you would all be saying, Nihal, yaar, law बहुत discuss करता है, but कम से कम एक case laws भी दे दे, so that we are also at ease that we are not the only ones facing it. So then there are 4 case laws for you all. Arise India, KK Industries and Gheru Lal Balchand were from the previous regime, but they hold equally good today. And DY Bethel Enterprises is from the GST regime itself. Arise India, I believe, needs to be a part of your reply, because this decision was not just validated by the Honorable High Court of Delhi, it was also validated by the Honorable Supreme Court of the country, which says that the input cannot be denied if the tax has not been paid by the supplier, which means you in good faith, if you have deposited the amount with the if you have with your supplier and if you have paid him in totality, ITC cannot be denied to you. DY Bethel, or rather KK Industries, again of the Supreme Court, on the similar lines. DY Bethel is a quite interesting judgment. Why? It says that the revenue authorities should first go ahead and check whether the dealer is trackable or it is not, or the dealer itself is not traceable, which means it somewhere or the other pushes the department, hello department, आप direct recipient को मत पकड़ो जाके, पहले आप सप्लायर को तो ढूंढने की ट्राई करो, वेदर सप्लायर मिल रहा है कि नहीं मिल रहा। अगर सप्लायर मिलता है तो आपकी रिकवरी सप्लायर से बनती है, रेसिपिएंट से नहीं बनती। और अगर आपको सप्लायर मिल ही नहीं रहा तो भी आपको एक नेक्सस प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि वो नेक्सस में आपका जो रेसिपिएंट था वो भी कहीं ना कहीं इन्वॉल्व था। जस्ट बिकॉज रेसिपिएंट ने आईटीसी ले लिया, ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप जाके रेसिपिएंट को बोलो प्लीज रिवर्स। आई होप आई एम क्लियर। Let us see the next slide, which discusses about the form and the look and feel of GST SMT 10. Now, I'm sure the Honorable Commissioner Sir would also agree that any communication that happens from the department, that will always have a reference number to it, plus that will always have a document identification number. I am sure I would have said it in the start. I again
Agreed.
repeat it.
Agreed, sir. Agreed. There should be a unique identification number, definitely.
Correct. I again repeat it. If there is no DIN on the invoice, the department, or rather the finance ministry, has said you can tear off the notice and throw it in the dustbin. I do not agree to it, but surely you can very well take up a stand that this is just a fishing inquiry happening. This is just a roving inquiry that is taking place. In absence of the DIN, we are not supposed to give you any sort of details. Now, please remember, a lot of emails that are being shoot, or rather a lot of emails that are being shot, they do not contain either the reference number nor do they contain DIN. And hence, a good reply to it would only be a one-liner that this is not a correct legal notice, which I am supposed to reply to. It also needs to contain your name. It also needs to contain your tax period. And now look at the second paragraph. You are hereby directed with to explain the reasons as to why the discrepancies, as on noted, or rather they are asking you to explain the reasons for the discrepancy. Now this is the format. Do you anywhere see that you are required to show cause as to why something should not be done on you? No, there is no reference. There is no indication of that. And when there is no reference or there is no indication of the same, please remember, I concluded with the form that this is not a show cause notice that comes to you.
Of course.
ASMT 11 is again your reply to the same. Now, a lot of people would come to me and say, Nihal, what is the most appropriate way to reply to ASMT 11? See, it depends. अगर आपका details बहुत ज़्यादा है, or rather if you want to give a very well furnished reply, always put down your reply in form of an annexure. Always. But if you are like, no, it is just a one-liner reply, then you can use it in the form as well. ASMT 12 is again a closure notice that I am sure a lot of you have received, but I am also sorry to understand that a lot many of us have not received. Now it is already 12:30. If the say jury wants, I can discuss of the penal provisions as well with respect to them, or if the jury wants me to answer the questions, I can take up the answers as well, or rather I can take up the questions as well. So I leave it on the jury. Sir, do you want me to go ahead and discuss the penalty provisions as well?
Sir, I would suggest you take up the Q&A first, and if time permits, we will take up the penalty provisions, because penalty
Absolutely,
provisions, भगवान करे किसी को penalty लगे ही नहीं तो penalty पढ़ने की जरूरत ही ना पड़े. But let us answer the questions and answers first. I think that would be a better approach.
All right, sir. So let us take up the questions.
Shreyas, would you like to take up the questions, please?
Should I stop the presentation?
Yes, sir. You can stop the presentation.
Yes, you can do that. You can also answer in between if you feel that something pertains to you. So Shreyas will just read out the questions for the benefit for all, and you can also give a departmental perspective to it.
Sure. So, sir, the first question is, if a registered dealer pays tax by DRC 03 Challan for financial year 17-18 and 19-20 during the annual return and reconciliation, purchasing dealer issues debit note along with interest saying that his assessing officer disallowed ITC, saying that ITC disallowed due to non-reflecting of ITC in Gstr 2A. How to proceed?
So first of all, we'll have to understand that 2B was not there in 2017-18. And therefore, the only legal backing or the legal evaluation has to happen on the basis of 2A. So I'll request 2B ko to bhul jao. Ab 2A mein what was the error that took place? And I am also very sure that there was a press release dated 17th of October 2018, which said that 2A is only for your legal viewing, or rather only for your viewing purpose. It is not a legal binding document. After that, they introduced section 36(4). And therefore, this is the legal backing that you should be having. That when I check up the history of it, or rather when I check up the history of the 2A, the 2B, it was enforced on me by a way of Rule 36(4) and not by any say legal substantiated provisions.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Sir, Commissioner, sir, if
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree.
You can please interrupt.
Oh, no issues, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Moving on, sir. Next question is, unable to get 10% refund towards IGST paid on sale to SEZ in 17-18 financial year. Nearly 90% already received, but still we are unable to get. After submitting all documents, department says it will process. Now what to do in such situation?
I believe this is for the commissioner, sir.
No, sir. He got 90% refund. Then matter of getting 10%, he can approach it. There may be any difficulty in that. Is a time lag, sir. So he can approach and it will be refunded, sir. No issue, sir. Because I already got 90%. No issue, sir. No issue.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Moving on. The next is, if GST registration of customer is cancelled suo motu and supplier could not file GSTR1 on the customer GSTI and supplier has to file invoice as B2C only. Later on, customer gets GSTI and cancellation revoked. How can customer get GST credit for invoice filed during the period GSTI and cancelled suo motu?
Sir, fight for it. I'll only tell you one thing, fight for it. It is because, again, you are expected here to do something which is impossible.
Yes. Of course, sir. Sir, he has another 30 days of time for getting that claiming of ITC, even after the cancellation of revocation of RC registration, sir. He can fight for it and he can get it claimed, sir. I am also of the view of Nihalchand, sir.
Sure, sir. Next question. Whether interest is automatically charged on the late payment of GST, even when there is a reasonable cause, is there any time limit to issue a show cause notice for interest payment?
Sir, I believe, be it any law, forget GST, if it is paid late, there is interest liability. The max that can be waived off is late fee or a penalty. I have not seen a provision in either the Income Tax Act or the VAT laws or the service tax laws or the central excise laws or even GST, which says कि आपका interest माफी हो जाए. So then interest, if it is late, it is payable.
It is automatic, sir.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you, sir. Next question. In amnesty, some of suppliers filed return for 17-18, but now department disallowing due to invoices filed after annual return due date. What can be the reply?
Sir, have you claimed the credit? If the answer to that is yes, you have not done anything incorrect. You have followed all the provisions of law, and therefore your credit cannot be rightfully disallowed. So just show up your part that it is again beyond my control if the supplier has filed it late.
Yeah.
And obviously use the case of Arise India and the other discussions that the other case laws that we have.
Sure. Great. Is tribunal there in GST and is it active?
No, sir, it is not yet formed.
Yeah.
So if it is either Commissioner appeals and then it is directly the High Court.
Yes, definitely. Of course.
Moving on. I had purchased goods from my party and they filed GSTR 1 but not filed GSTR 3B. And party died due to COVID. And now his company closed down. So what to do?
Sir, this is very, a very unfortunate legal situation that is there. I mean, though we are laughing over it because we all know कि यार अब क्या करें. But I'll tell you a sensible way out of the situation. Ask the party to appoint some legal representative, file up their returns. Once that return is filed, please go out for cancellation. And again, if it was a private limited company, you need to change up your authorized signatory. And if it was a proprietor, then God bless you, the procedure is long, but it is not a position which the law has not envisaged and there is no way out of it.
There is a way for G. There is a way for
There is a way for it. Yes, I
Yes.
agree that the
Yes.
procedure is long,
Yes.
but we have to follow it, sir. If you want
Yes,
a
definitely.
credit, we have to follow it.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Next question. Can department send notices without properly cross-checking the details from your end?
I believe I'll leave this question to the commissioner, sir, only. I
No,
don't want to interrupt from the department. Otherwise, what would happen is tomorrow notice would come to me only. Nihal, you said this.
No, Ji, you already told in the deliberation that nobody knows everything. It is only the portal. It is a system that gives it. And it is an officer to issue notice only on the records of the which is available in the portal. They issue notices and it is a time for them to give representations that mismatches can be rectified by way of producing proper documents.
Yeah.
Yes, we. So I am leaving further part to Nikhil Ji.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll move on. DIRC 07 and SCN 73 is what to reply and appeal. With what
Sir,
to reply and appeal.
I'll give you a very, say, a layman's understanding of it. We are all chartered accountants over here, right? अपन एग्जाम में कोई केस लॉ का कैसे रिप्लाई करते थे, कोई केस स्टडी कैसे रिप्लाई करते थे, सेम वे आप रिप्लाई कीजिए. What was the procedure? First, we used to understand what the question was. Nextly, we used to write down the legal provisions, and then we used to correlate it with the legal provisions and the case. That is exactly how a reply should go, be it of a show cause, be it of an ASMT 10, be it of appeal. Even I'm sure the judges, or not the judges, the lawyers which fight in the High Court, they also follow the same provisions. So there is no rocket science in replying to the notices. However, this being said, ensure that if there are two schools of thoughts, mention it as to which school of thought you have followed. And also, do not get very rude in your replies. Do not get very aggressive in your replies. Be a professional, and see, ultimately you will have to face the client as well as the department. That is the reason I said in the start as well. once you are a professional, keep all your emotions aside. Vijaya sir may be my very good friend. We may be having dinners together all the time. But when I represent him in front of him as a chartered accountant, he is not my friend. He is the assistant commissioner. And that is how I'm supposed to treat him. When I talk with Shreyash Bhai, we also have every lunch together. But if he is my client and if he turns up to me, I cannot, please him just because he's my friend. I also have to show him the mirror. Okay, nahi sir, this is what the legal position is. You are not correct over here. So that is a tough role that we have to play. And a lot of times people get offended just because we do our jobs. So that is, I believe, a managing thing that we all have to do. But again, as I say, we are supposed to be in between, neither here nor here.
Rightly said, Ji. Rightly said, Ji.
Sure.
And no offenses to anybody, huh?
Yes, of course.
Next question. If some of the invoices not updated in GSTR1 for financial year 17-18 due to time lapse, but taxes has been paid in annual return. Now client are asking that invoice is not reflecting in GSTR2A. So we could not take ITC. Any solution for this?
Sir, refer to your press release dated 17th October. That is the only legal backing that I have for you right now. Plus 2A in whole was not implemented. Plus section 38 that is in effect today. You are not following it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Moving on. If GSTR1 filed after September, then what to do? Department is saying to pay the tax. If they know, then why are they making harassment as they are saying commissioner is asking to pay for it? What should be done?
I let the commissioner sir answer it.
So you,
I ask that question whenever it is something from the department that I get very frightened.
Sir, you are the lawmaker, sir. Do you know that there is a rule framed by the government that is the things are to be done before September return to be filed in October, and there is a final annual return to be filed in 31st December. Then there are law and they have to abide by the rules, sir. And if it is anything is contradictory to the law, definitely actions will be initiated by the department. And there is no other alternative except to go with what is called this penal provision, sir, which is in the law, sir.
And I just have to add one thing to it. That remember, we are in GST right now. You go back to your VAT, you go back to your central excise, show me any law which permitted you to take up ITC for an unlimited period. I am sure the law would have not been implemented. Rules implement नहीं किया रहेगा in a strict manner. But then ऐसा बोलना कि पहले अनलिमिटेड टाइम तक आप ITC ले सकते थे और अब आपने मुझे प्रोहिबिट किया है. Now I do not feel that this is a correct statement to me.
But I would differ from this to the extent that now they are restricting the ITC unless it is appearing in a two-way also. Now, earlier there was no restriction. Earlier, whatever purchase invoices I had, I was able to claim on the basis of purchase invoice. That is a documentary evidence that I had. I was never allowed to check a return from a supplier perspective. So if a invoice is not getting reflected in two-way, okay, for not a fault of mine, for the fault of a supplier, I have a purchase invoice. It is never denied that the purchase invoice was not in place as on say during the year 17-18. It was there, it was recorded in my books of accounts, it was duly paid, the service was received. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, you are restricting my ITC to a particular event, and that event is not bound by me. So, to that extent, the comparison from the previous law will always differ, sir.
Pardon me,
Sir, you have your answer to it.
Pardon me, Pradeep ji. Yes, pardon me, Pradeep ji. It was also in the S-file regime of VAT also. See, you would have come across that is mismatches between GS Annexure 1 and 2. We have issued notices. That is, the other end dealer have not filed the return and paid tax. So it is in their law, sir. So and there is no time that you cannot avail the ITC beyond the prescribed time limit, sir. It is in the S-file Act also.
I'm not on the ITC part of it, sir. I am saying there was no restriction on claiming the credit in a particular month basis the other person is. See, when I used to file, I used to give, okay, I have these 10 purchase invoices. Okay. See, I used to work for VAT more, so I can tell you, I used to fill my two part of it where I used to say, okay, I purchased from say CA Nihalchand. then you department used to compare and used to say, भाई निहालचंद बोलता है मैंने तो इसको माल ही नहीं बेचा है. आप बोलते हैं तो then that comparison used to happen after the claim of credit. Here,
Yes.
today what we are doing before our filing of return, you are giving me this is your credit and you are saying I will not allow you to take the credit because this is not, because there is a discrepancy. So there is a difference in the earlier and the current law, sir.
Absolutely, sir. But here you always have your section 42 and your section 38 for your protection, as well as section 16, which says that if you are right at your place, go ahead and claim it. You'll have to go for litigation.
Litigation
Law
is what
permits
we
you
do
to
for
avail
right,
claim the
that is
ITC,
what.
sir, but it's only.
What, sir?
Vijayakumar, sir, you were saying something.
No, sir. Pradeep, sir, you tell Pradeep ji, sir, you go on, sir.
Yeah. So the idea is litigation is what the business does not want. So if every month, every 3B is under litigation, then how will the business function?
I accept to that thing, sir.
That is what is practically happening, sir.
I know, sir. See, practically, I'll tell you one thing. 99% of our issues would be resolved if there is a GSTR 2 and 3 in place. So even I do not suggest litigation. But then, if it is right, if you are right, why should you suffer? I am not a person who would ever go for litigation. But अगर बोलते हैं ना जबरदस्ती आपको कोई मारे जा रहा है तो खुद को बचाओगे तो सही ना यार. That is the only point I'm trying to tell.
Nobody is has a willingness to go for a litigation, sir. But when we are proper, when we are correct, 100% correct in the sense that when we reconcile before filing of returns and we are correct, then it is no problem, sir. The problem arises only then what is
always comes with a cost, sir.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Absolutely, sir. I agree with you.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, so shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If final return not filed and notice comes after 6 months from cancellation order passed and dealer is in service industry, needs to file return now as late fees auto calculated.
We'll have to file it. We are also representing that, sir. Please late fee maaf kar do. He has already left everything of GST. Ab kyun paise le rahe ho yaar? But kya karoge? That is what the law is.
Yeah. Okay. Next. GSTR 3B for March 19 filed after October 19. Can we get ITCS? 3B could not be filed due to non-availability of 3B.
What is the question, sir? Question is
GSTR 3B for March 19 filed after October 19. Can we get ITCS? 3B could not be filed due to non-availability of 3. I don't know. We can read this in Q&A section, I think.
What is non-availability of 3B is something that I am not very comfortable with.
It's not drafted the question properly.
Must have cancelled or must have revoked later on.
Okay. No, but then that we already discussed at the start, no?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just skip this. Next question is, apply for GST cancellation almost a year back, but till date no response from respected officer. What to do since till date we need to file returns?
Sir, even I am facing the same problem for one of them. So we are helpless. Sir.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, sir, the situation is something like this, that if I tweet something and if I tag the government and ask them for question, there are standard replies that I get. It is being forwarded by the jurisdictional officer. It is a revenue issue and it is being forwarded to the government. So then, I mean, kya kare?
So instead of tweeting and the mailing, that why can't the client or the dealer cannot approach the proper officer that I already applied for registration cancellation and it is in their portal taskbar. Why can't you do that? You can approach and get a remedy for that, sir. And their office, because the officers, they are having lot of under pressure of work, it will be in the taskbar for some time. And he would not have, because of the pressure, he could not have noticed that task, sir. So that it is well that the particular dealer or the client can approach and get in the RC cancelled. And there are officers to help and no issue, sir, definitely.
Okay.
Sure. Whether GST notices issued should be available on the portal. Status quo of the notices issued directly on mail. I think we've already addressed this.
Yes,
They already did.
we already discussed, sir.
Okay. Moving on. Wrongly paid cess instead of GST in December 2017. All documents submitted in March 18. VAT department says it is for central and not for us. We have sent the file. Dealers file with the VAT department. How to solve?
Sir, I could not understand the question.
So it's wrongly paid cess instead of GST in December 2017. All documents submitted in March 18. VAT department says it is for center and not for us. We have sent the file. Dealer's file is with VAT department. How to solve?
An issue of jurisdiction, I believe.
Yeah.
Sir, how to take care of different jurisdictions?
So
It
I
is
think
because he is the best person to answer. If there are different jurisdiction happening around.
no, sir. Yes, of course. He would be.
अभी
he-
तेरा तूने एक्चुअली यहाँ पे मंथ सही नहीं लिखे अप्रैल 19 अगस्त
he can make an appeal, sir, so that because it's a transition period and he would be in the central excise dealer. Now he would have been moved to state government and the state officer, he did not have filed Tran 1 properly, and that the payment of chess would not have come into reflection in the return. So it can be clarified by way of giving proper documents and other things, sir. But it is already lapse of 2017. The Tran 1 credit that the chess would not have been come into that particular migration period. So that he can go for only getting a legal remedy first. Am I correct, Nihalji? Because
Sir, you are
already the
always
time has,
correct.
yes, because already the time has lapsed to this 2017, and we are in 2021. And why
But
that
sir,
state?
But sir, I also have a query to it that
Okay.
whatever is the say the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court taking the suo moto calls for extension of time limits.
Yes.
So does that also apply to our cases wherein we have failed to file up an appeal or file up an application for revocation?
Yes, of
And
course,
can
sir.
we also take up a shelter under that and put up an application?
Rightly observed, sir. Rightly observed.
So then this can also help you, sir.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Okay. Moving on, is ASMT 10. It was in ASMT 10. It was mentioned that ITC can claimed by you is from dealers whose registration number is cancelled without any reference of dealer name. How to deal with it?
Ask for details.
He's
See-
having every right to give the details of supplier and other things, sir.
See, understand one thing. I'll tell you on a very grassroots level. The department has issued you a notice. Say it's a vague notice. I use the term vague only. It's a vague notice.
Yes.
There is no need to rush in for a reply. If you feel you need details, ask that I need certain details. How is this amount calculated? Who is the dealer? What period is covered? And how did you derive at this amount? You are bound, you are correct in asking for them. But yes, if you go up for an assumption and then reply something, then that becomes binding word.
Yes, it will create problems, sir. It is having every right to request all details from the officer, sir. It is not a so-cast notice, rightly said by observed.
You are right. You are right in your approach to ask for details. And sir, if I am correct, even if it's a show cause, and if that amount is not, say, reflecting anywhere as per our understanding or as per our documents and records, we can still ask that, sir, from where did you get this information? Because we, as per our records, as per our documentation, there is no reference to it. Even if it's a show cause, why is why is it like that? If it's a show cause, I cannot ask anything. I'll have to
No, sir. He can ask any details, even if it is a show-cast notice, sir. He is having every right to ask the details to be furnished to the dealer, sir. Definitely by the department.
Sure. Next question is, we are getting GST notices for RCM on import freight. What to reply?
Sir, now this is, I believe, Mohit mineral matter already in the Supreme Court, sir. So let the Honorable Supreme Court only decide, sir. We are like literally nobody in front of Supreme Court to even put up a reply to it. But yes, if you want as a shelter, what you can say is that this matter is already pending with the Honorable Supreme Court, and whatever is the decision that comes of that material, you would apply the same.
Sure.
So that, it goes on in abeyance that yes, you have at least put up something on reply to it.
Sure. Is it legal to make DIRC3 payment from GST credit ledger?
Is it legal or is it illegal? What is the question?
So is it legal to make DIRC payment from GST credit ledger? So can we do that
Yes.
legally?
Yes. What is the harm? Where is the stoppage? Sir, I believe let the commissioner sir also.
No, sir, no, sir. You
तो
are,
कल payment
you answered, sir. You answered properly, sir. Correctly, sir. You are answered.
Okay. Moving on, goods imported in India for temporary use, commercial value for imports is nil. IGST paid on custom assessable value, goods re-exported after 6 months. Since value of goods re-exported was nil as import was nil, IGST also nil. Claim of IGST refund rejected as it says value is nil. We need refund of IGST which was not required to be paid on import of temporary use due to non-availability of notification at the time of production of GST, at the time of introduction of GST.
Nikhil ji,
I think Nihalchand's
Network.
network problem.
We'll wait for him to join. Yes. You can, sir, you have any inputs on this?
Sir, see,
Vijayakumar, sir?
see, it is an see the goods are imported from other country for some for some processing and other things, and it is an exempted one, and it is further re-exported. And there is no question of difficulty in getting if it is if there is any IGST has been paid, refund is eligible for him, sir. He can apply for refund, sir, with all proper documents and other things, sir. Because it is re-exported, it is imported, and some process has been done to the particular product. It is exported. If it is exempted, and if any IGST paid on such that he can claim he can claim what refund, sir. I think there is no any difficulty or there is no legal issue in that, sir. I think that Nikhilji will be further enhance the answer for Nikhilji.
Sir, sorry, the internet connection got
No,
broken
sir.
between. So
Okay,
I
sir,
will-
no issue. Okay, sir, no issue.
I will repeat the question for you. So, goods imported in India for temporary use, commercial value for imports is nil. IGST paid on custom assessable value. Goods re-exported after 6 months. Since value of goods re-exported is also nil as imports was nil. IGST also nil. Claim of IGST refund rejected as it says value is nil. We need a refund of IGST which was not required to be paid on imports for temporary use due to non-availability of notification at the time of introduction of GST.
okay, so the best way to deal up with this situation is do one thing. You have that notification now. Once you have that notification now, try, okay, I repeat, try to show that this notification is more of a clarification than of a legal binding as on that date. Plus, if any matter is, say, unaddressed, to my understanding, it will always go in the favor of the taxpayer and not in the favor of the department. But
Definitely.
this being said, you have to prove that there was an ambiguity, and that ambiguity was not resolvable by any law or by any provision that was existing on that date.
Sure. Moving on, DIRC 07 and SCN both issued simultaneously. DIRC 07 SCN under section 73 both issued simultaneously on the same subject of ITC for financial year 18-19. Are both to reply that is SCN to reply under section 17 and appeal under DIRC. So do we need to reply to both DIRC 07 and SCN under section 73 if they are simultaneously?
Sir, DIRC 07 is a form, I believe, that is to be filed for appeals, right? So if it's a show cause that is being issued, how can an appeal notice also be issued at the same time?
Okay.
I mean, the situation is real, I know, but then there is always an element of doubt that See, you give me an order, I appeal against that order. So when in absence of that order, what do I appeal against? And whether that SCN is closed properly or it is not closed properly. So if that matter, I believe, is already closed, and then for a different year, if that show cause is issued, then you'll have to reply to both. But if for that same year, you also receive a 73 and you also receive an appeal or notice, then something is missing. Either the years are different or something is different. Or if everything is same, I request whoso jiska bhi a query hai, please get in touch with me after the session is over or after a while, so that share of those whatever are the requirements, and then we can see as to how it is to be taken.
Sure. Sure, sir. Thank you. I think we'll take up one more question. Supplier has filed GSTR 1 till September 19 and not filed GSTR 3B till August 18. After that, he has sumo cancel GST number. Can we get the ITC credit as per GSTR 2A for 18-19?
Use Arise India, use BY Bethel, use KK Industries.
There are a lot of cases outcome.
There are lots of judgments, sir. And no matter in which court or rather which state you go, there are judgments in every state. So then I don't believe that it should be a challenge.
Yes, of course, sir, definitely.
Sure. Pradeep sir, should we continue? We have time. We have
questions are just coming up, and maybe they are more or less related to what questions have already been answered. Most of them are related to ITC. The pending questions, I mean, I've gone through. So
sure.
If at all, one or two more questions, I think I'm fine. But
maybe you want to sort it out and read out the relevant ones.
Just give me a moment. So, yeah. Okay, this question is related to incorporation. I'll take up this question. Why GST numbers are not issued for new companies at incorporation simultaneously like PAN and TAN, which is a part of SPICE for ease of business? I mean, is there in the pipeline from the department, sir? Are you aware about this? Vijayakumar, sir?
Sir, please, sir. I could not be able to catch the point, sir.
Sir, your voice is very low, sir. If I'm not mistaken, Pradeep ji's voice, it is coming very low.
Okay, I try to be allowed. See, during incorporation of new companies, now PAN and TAN are getting auto-generated. So is there any similar plan for having automatic GST registration number basis the SPICE filing in MCA?
I think there is no such difficulty for that, sir. Whatever that, if any registration is applied in company, private company, limited company, proprietor, I think Nihalji, there won't be any difficulty.
Sir, I believe that there is already an option when you incorporate a new company that you can also apply for GST.
Yes.
What I have had a discussion with my professional CS colleagues is that the processing happens very slow, and therefore we don't opt for that route. We opt for it separately. Okay, that is the updated knowledge that I have. If I'm incorrect, correct, that I'm not sure about. But then again, this is what the knowledge that I have on record as of now.
Okay, sir.
I agree, sir. We did it for one of our client, and the processing took almost over a year to get the GST number.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
Oh my God. I think with this we'll end the Q&A sessions and we'll take up the further. Well, I think we had an excellent session today where all the types of legal notices that could be issued due to mismatch have been taken care of by our speaker today, CA Nihalchand Jain. I think he has done excellent justice to the topic. We also mark the presence of Vijayakumar sir for giving a departmental perspective that to the GST queries of our members. We thank you to both the speakers. Before giving a formal vote of thanks from Shreyas, I would just say that, all the time we have been saying that GST is a new law and it is a baby. Now this baby is soon going to enter into its teens, and it is going to be a child, and we hope that this does not turn into a rogue child. It is a joint responsibility of the taxpayers, of the professionals of the department, and also the lawmakers to make this child a good and a better child for the future of our economy. With this, I would ask Shreyas to give a formal vote of thanks to Vijayakumar sir and to our speaker Nihalchand.
Thank you, Pradeep Bhai. So, friends, as we know, and as our learned speakers have been saying, the GST law is still pretty new and it's still evolving. So are the issues evolving, and so are the legal matters arising out of it. So, thank you very much, both the sirs, for sparing your valuable time on a Sunday morning and taking us through the nitty-gritties of the law. So I, on behalf of BCSC, request all members to carry out a vote of thanks for CA Vijayakumar sir and CA Nihalchand.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It is a pleasure always coming to our study center.
It is a pleasure, and I extend my wholehearted thanks to Nikhil ji and Pradeep ji and Shreya Trivedi ji. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I will be part and parcel of Borivali CP Study Circle. You can call me at any time. I will be always at the disposal of Nihalchand ji and Nilesh ji, Pradeep ji, and Vijayakumar Jain ji, who is up from Tamil Nadu. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity, ji.
Sir, we will call you physically also now.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir.
Thank you. We will end the session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. With this, we end the session. Our next seminar is on 25th, again a VCM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.